can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me. And I can't hold it much longer. Gotta let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah.
Let's do this. Another big week. Foul territory. We are live. Krasinski, Kratz, I'm Braun. John Shea, who does a great job writing nationally out in the Bay Area, is going to help us out with the A's disaster and editing. We'll get to it. And also Rowdy Tellez, who might be one of the MVPs of this show in terms of interviews, back at it with us coming soon. The Brewers slugger joining us in a moment. How was Larry Walker golf outing on Friday?
Friday, it's good. It's good.
How's he doing?
He's good.
Yeah?
Very out of the limelight, Larry Walker.
Well, he doesn't want to do anything, right? He's just hanging. He's not. Just hanging. He doesn't work for a team.
No.
He's not a broadcaster.
No.
What does he do? Play golf?
Signs balls that say HOF and makes money.
That's awesome.
Team Canada.
Team Canada, yeah.
Big into Team Canada. Him and Ernie Witt, big time party time with Team
solid
Canada.
Goatee.
Yeah. Well, he's got time to grow it.
Solid goatee. Yeah, he's a good golfer. It's what we played, and I've never seen this happen before. I was on one side of the fairway. He was on the other side of the fairway. I hit my ball. He hit his ball at the same time. They hit in midair.
No.
Come on.
I swear. They hit in midair.
What?
Yeah. Never seen it. Never see it again. No, from the fairway, like approach shot. Long. I think I had 200 in, and we were both about 200. He was on the right. We're both left-handed. So he was on the right side. I was on the left side. We both hit for the green, and the balls hit in midair. Mine went out of bounds. His went right by the green.
That is insane.
Yeah, crazy. Never seen it. I'll never see it again.
You'll never see it again.
No.
I saw two guys drive it, and we were playing left, right, middle, and they drove it, and both their balls settled in the fairway right next to each other. I used to have a picture on my phone of it, but same thing. You'll never see it again.
In the air.
In the air.
That is insane. Well, good. I'm glad he's good.
And he won, so it made him happy. You got to let the Hall of Famers win.
That's so nice of you. Otherwise, you would have won, right?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay, fair. Hey, we have a lot to get to from the weekend. I want to jump right into it. Charge the Mound has a little more oomph to it now. There it is. Ooh, beautiful. That's going to have some sponsoring on it pretty soon this week. The hint is on the desk if you'd like to know, if you're watching on YouTube right now. Let's start with which disaster do you want to start with, the White Sox or the Cardinals?
I feel like the White Sox are more relevant at the moment than the Cardinals. The Cardinals has been kept quieter, I feel like, maybe than the White Sox.
You think so?
Yeah, because the White Sox have had more just stuff going on. More outside stuff. I feel like the
How about calling out Tyler O'Neill?
Yeah, but, yeah. The thing about the Cardinals is the fan base is always so positive no matter what. Even right now, they're like, we're still going to win the division.
They might.
They might, but I'm just, it's much more positive. Where if you're going down the White Sox rabbit hole, there's some people that are pretty angry about the way that the season has started. And they won a huge game last night. Way to go, Andrew Vaughn.
Mm-hmm. The White Sox are not going to win the division. Breaking news. Their chances.
Why? You gave up so soon.
Much slimmer than the St. Louis Cardinals. They lost 10 games in a row entering Sunday. The weekend was a roller coaster. If you're into drama, I mean, it was packed. I'm looking at the amount of notes I have from the weekend. So let's start with a couple losses in a row. And that includes Saturday when our dude Lance Lynn pitched pretty well. But in the first inning, Luis Robert is running out of ground ball. And I would say walking out of ground ball. And Pedro Grifol, their skipper, removes him from the game. Afterward, it seemed like the miscommunication is Robert says he's hurt, but decided to only tell Elvis Andrus and Eloy Jimenez. Not usually a winning formula to just let two rando teammates know that you're not even close to 100% and then walk out a ground ball and then say, oops, it's because I'm hurt. Aren't you supposed to tell someone that?
Yes. You're also supposed to know the bench coach's name. Did you see that part of the interview?
No.
He didn't know Charlie Montoya's name, who's the bench coach for the White Sox.
No freaking way.
Yeah. So it was just a bad look. He hit, and for people that didn't see it, he hits like a chopper that he probably would have beat out easily if he was running hard. And he's jogging. I mean, yogging, as they say in Anchorman. The J is silent. Here it is. Now, he's fast. And I think even Kratz and I had a shot at beating this out. But that is full shutdown mode. And he's out by steps. And his excuse or his reason was, I ran hard yesterday, and I'm tight today, so I don't want to run hard again today. But I didn't want to tell anybody because I wouldn't play. So I told Eloy and Elvis Andrus that I was not going to run hard. And then they interviewed him after the game with the true translator. Here's the tweet.
I'll read from James Spigen of The Athletic. Pedro Grifol said he thought Robert Jr. possibly had a mental lapse and that he was benched to enforce the expectation for ground balls to be run out. Robert Jr. said he had been dealing with a tight right hamstring and didn't tell the coaching staff even after he was benched.
This is the classic. I got caught in the cookie jar with my hand, and now I have time to think about why I didn't run hard, and so I'm going to come up with something. Because if you're hurt, you go to the training room, right, Kratzy? And they'll ask you, can you play? And if you say yes, they'll usually give you a go.
Mm-hmm.
At least make you go out there and run a little bit and say, hey, let's see how it feels. But to do this, not run, not tell anybody. And then the other weird thing about this is Elvis and Eloy didn't come out and say they knew either. I didn't see that reported anywhere. They didn't come out and say, oh, we knew about this. We're on board. He told us he was hurt. This all came after he had been benched. I give Pedro Grifol credit. He benched him, which he should have because that effort was atrocious. But, man, and then they had a no-hitter. Lance Lynn was dealing. They get to the seventh inning. They were the first team I thought I read since 1938 to be winning, to have a no-hitter into the seventh inning and give up double-digit runs and lose by a certain amount. It was some crazy.
They got smacked 12-3.
After winning 3-0
yeah.
with a no-hitter, Lance was dealing. Apparently, he mixed in some salads and was dealing.
He said, fuck you, sweeper, and was dealing.
Oh, he didn't throw any, by the way.
Correct.
He threw 0 sweepers.
Which is why you watch or listen to this show, because he literally said that. And it was a pitch he was using, and he said, I'm done with it. And he was not joking.
No, he threw 0. If you look at the pitch stats, he threw 0 sweeper / slider, whatever you want to call it, and was carving. But, yeah, it was a bad look all around for the White Sox. And good luck, boys.
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin. Like, the translator through Robert Jr., what he forgot was what Luis really was saying was, well, they didn't translate that part of it. Like, he clearly, if you're not hurt, there's no excuse for that. And I've heard an expression for coaches, managers, based on how your players play, how your players are conducting themselves. You're either teaching it, oblivious to it, or you're okay with it. So Pedro Grifol has to figure it out. And it's, you have a mandate on how you run down to first base. Like, Pedro Grifol, he didn't even want to watch the White Sox this weekend. He got booted out of 2 games. The first game, or the second game they got booted out of was like in the first inning. He's like, I'm going in where it's dry. I don't have to see exactly what's going to happen out here. But there's almost too many people to call out. Like, Luis Robert only talking to Elvis and Eloy about what was ailing him. Oh, I only told my buddies. And that other guy who stands next to Pedro all the time, I told him too. Like, there's some communication issues. There's some accountability issues. And that starts at the top, especially with the special advisors to the whatever, role AJ has. That's where I think that it should start to roll.
AJ has nothing to do with this. But...
No, it's definitely AJ.
So we remember now, Tony La Russa last year did tell guys, oh, you're a little sore, don't run hard. I'm giving you permission to not run hard.
Ugh.
So maybe Pedro didn't tell Luis Robert that he didn't have that rule. And Luis Robert was still playing from 2022 rules instead of 2023.
Well, and you remember the entire reason why the White Sox haven't been good for the past year and a half now is because of Tony La Russa, right? It's all his fault. He was the ultimate scapegoat last year. They were like, this team's terrible. Everything would change if Tony wasn't there. Hold up.
They're actually worse now.
They're worse. They are.
Listen, they have TA coming back tomorrow.
Yes.
Hopefully. They had a huge win yesterday. Like I said, Andrew Vaughn, they were down 9-5 going to the ninth inning, and they came back and won 12-9. Andrew Vaughn hit a 3-run walk-off homer in the rain. There was about 400 fans there chanting, "Sell the team." And then Andrew Vaughn hits a home run. They say keep the team now because we're all happy again. So can it turn around? Yeah. Is it early? Yeah, but as Yogi Berra used to say, it's getting late early because they've dug themselves such a hole. What are they, 9 games out, 10 games out already, and we're May 1st? That's a huge hole to climb out of.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. There's a lot of teams that we should be spending this much time on, but there's an absolute dumpster fire going on in Chicago. And when you're 8 games back, like that is a lot in kind of a mediocre division. Like not like a division where you're like, oh well, the Rays came out hot. Like they've just been bad. It's more of like, hey, are they going for the first pick overall? Are they trying to get as many lottery balls as possible? Like it's them and Oakland, and they better be careful.
KC's behind them too. KC.
Yeah, let's not forget this is the worst. You said it's like a kind of mediocre division. Kratz, this is the worst division in baseball.
Okay, it's the worst.
Not even close. Kansas City is worse than Chicago somehow. They're 7-22. It's just the expectations weren't high. Not that they were super high for Chicago. You just didn't expect them to be 8-21, 9 games out of first already. Detroit is terrible. They are terrible. They're 10-17.
So if you want to go, because you're big on this, you want to blast the Rays for having an easy schedule.
I didn't blast the Rays for having an easy schedule.
They won all these games against the easy teams.
I just think pump the brakes. It's not an historically epic team. So pump the brakes on the
White Sox. Look at their schedule and who they played.
But everyone looks hard to them because they're terrible.
You can't have it both ways.
You're right. They do.
Look at who they played.
They do have a soft schedule down the street, or for the rest of the season, because they get to play
the Rays 7 times.
Right.
The hottest team in the world. They went 1-6.
Bad time to play them.
Bad time. They played the Phillies, the Orioles, the Astros 4 already. That's pretty.
I don't think they're a terrible team, and I definitely think they're a talented team. What I do think is they're a disaster organization right now. There's just something going on every day. Yeah. Even your team broadcaster is calling out one of the Bulldog pitchers, and he did apologize. I will give him that. Steve Stone on his Twitter said, a few days ago, I made a comment on the radio about Lance Lynn and his weight as it pertained to endurance. I made a mistake and take responsibility. No excuses and no rationalizations. I was wrong. Lance and I spoke yesterday, and I apologized. He accepted, and we shook hands. So at least one issue is resolved.
Well,
on the south side.
My question is for Steve Stone: would he have apologized if there wasn't instantaneous blowback from everybody?
No.
Okay. Well,
he clearly didn't know it was wrong.
Are they going to play on the same Shirts and Skins basketball team? Are they going to go Skins when they play the pickup game at the White Sox alumni game here next week?
No, they're going to pick up a sponsorship at Salads R Us or something like that.
Oh, we got into this last week. I don't want to get into it again, but you just can't. You can't do it. You can't take personal shots at guys. It's just bad for everybody, and especially when. Here's the other thing: is not only did Stone take the shot, he wasn't on the road trip either when he did it.
So that's the best time to take a shot because you don't even have to face them.
Yeah, so he didn't have to walk into the clubhouse. They were in Toronto, I believe, when we interviewed Lance, and. It was amazing. By the way, that was amazing timing by you. You said the local hacks on the Chicago radio are saying this about you. He answered the question. Then it was like 2 hours later, Steve Stone's like, "Oh, I didn't hear what he said on Foul Territory, but I'm going to make up my own assumptions that he's overweight and needs to mix in salads." Did you know that was coming, Scott? Because people asked me if we had heard him say that first, and I said no. That came after what we had just talked to Lance about.
I'm just that good.
Oh my
Scott
God.
is that good. He used to work at ESP. He has ESP.
ESP, yeah, not ESPN.
No,
I did many years ago, but I didn't know start to my bets. So sometimes you get hot. It just happens. Sunk it. Okay, worst team though in all of Major League Baseball is
Oakland.
Oakland. 6-23. Ownership not trying. It's fun. Whenever they do win, though, I feel good. I like to watch them celebrate on the field just because they are given all of the crap in the world between the ballpark, not having a good ball club. Now you have to play in front of fans that know you're leaving. It's a really messy situation to play for a player. Okay, what were you going to say? Otherwise, I want to show, or I want everyone to hear how it sounded.
Do they win more walk-off games in Oakland than anywhere? I swear that
Oh,
Oakland A's win more
right.
walk-offs.
Yes.
Seems like every game they win is a walk-off at home. They don't just
Yes.
win 5-2. It's 6-5, and they're down 3 in the ninth, and they come back and they have some crazy celebration. I know playing there, it always felt like we got walked off at least once a series.
Yes, that is definitely true. Even when I went and played for the Astros for the 3 minutes, they were like, guys, we got to make sure we play all 9 innings. Like, I've come here too many times. George Springer was saying, he's like, I've come here too many times in my first 2 or 3 years, whatever he had at that point. And they just are always walking us off. There's always like, and that, I think that's a testament, to the team, but also to the fans. They stay in the game and they're juiced. Not many of them, but they're juiced.
Not juiced enough because apparently they're not worthy enough to have a major league ball club.
It's not the fans.
No, well, I give a ton of credit to the fans because they're freaking awesome for showing up for the first time since that news was announced to a home game on Friday. And you had a nice little group cheering, and it sounded like this. They love the drums out there. You know, when they've been a playoff team and it's good and the drums are rocking and it's got a different feel to it, almost like a little bit of a
It's a high school marching
college,
band they have out there.
high school.
They have the horns. And they
Boom,
have,
boom, 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 boom,
It's
sell
like-
the team, boom, 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 sell the team. But then you watch the highlights of the game, and in the background, you just hear, woo. Did they replace the crowd noise too? It's like, wait, I don't hear the drums, honey. What's going on in Oakland? Did they stop today? Oh no, they're editing everything out of the game. I don't know if they actually did that, but who knows? Now I don't know what to trust anymore because MLB literally took the protest signs out of the highlights. You're like, what? What do you mean? Yeah, in today's world, you can just go on your computer, use some nice editing software, and actually take out, and as we're showing you here on YouTube what it looked like, the signs. So there's the signs, like sell, and it's nothing inappropriate, right? So that's the video that was in real life. And MLB.com, there are no signs.
Well, no,
What happened?
they changed the angle. So the original angle was just farther to the right, more of the scoreboard.
Yep.
And when they looks like they just shrunk it. But then there was another, like we just talked about the Steve Stone thing, apology. There was such a shitstorm about that from people saying, why did they change it? Now they went back, and it's almost like they made it worse
put it
because they
back.
apologized.
Not for apologizing, just for
putting it
tweaking
back.
things.
That's what I'm saying, but they admitted it.
Yes.
And it's
It's good stuff from Dugout Report right there. A lot more credibility for that animal on the left side getting the job done there.
Stomper.
MLB caught editing video to hide A's fans.
Like, that's an elephant, by the way.
Protest
You know that,
signs.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, because you just said the animal on the left.
It's an animal.
It's an elephant.
It's an elephant. Okay. But I'm saying the thing on the right's not an elephant.
Oh, he's a person.
He's a person.
He's the commissioner.
We're all animals. Whatever. I'm getting too cute. Dugout Report, great graphic there. So here's the point. There was editing done to prevent people from seeing what's really going on there. And it's not like there's crimes being committed. It's just people showing up saying, like, the owner should sell the team, sign saying #Fisher out. That's John Fisher. Caval, who's Dave Caval, who's like kind of the mouthpiece, the puppet for the owners. It says Caval equals liar. Nothing crazy. And then Evan Drellick and the group at The Athletic doing a great job covering this. Mark Carrig wrote a story, and then they got an update. So that was the quote you're talking about. Quote, "We were unaware of the edit. When it came to our attention, we corrected it as it isn't consistent with our policy." Well, who did it? Who did it? I don't know if you didn't do it. Just they were unaware.
That magically.
They were unaware of that edit.
Kratz, who did it?
Liars.
Liars.
They are totally aware. as we were informed in our meeting before this show, I don't know how this stuff goes, but I'm pretty sure some intern isn't working there going, you know what? I'm going to zoom in at an awkward angle for Noda's home run and not really show where it lands because that's something that I normally do, and I'm going to edit it this way. No chance. And this was told by whoever edited it, was told by somebody above them, who was told by somebody above them, who was told to not allow any of this stuff to be seen. And it really makes me wonder, we really have to go back because this video editing stuff isn't something that just came out this year. You're only getting your news from MLB.com or MLB Network, the only places that are allowed to, quote, show these videos. What else are they cutting out? What else have they not told us about fair negotiations and labor agreements? What else have they not told us about their responsibility in sticky stuff or steroids? What else have they not told us about and just glossed over? Because if you're not in Oakland, you don't know that happened until now, because everybody should be accountable for things. Not that everybody should be made, here's all your mistakes. Yes, I have a lot of mistakes, but there's an accountability as an athlete that you stand up and you're like, hey, you know what? I didn't run that ball out to first because my hamstring's a little bit sore. Where's the accountability and who edited this video on purpose to not show signs because the ownership with the A's is a little bit, my feelings are hurt.
Also, apparently the drummers stopped. Vicky in the chat right now said the drummers are called the Oakland 68s. They announced they would stop the drumming. And the best part, too, is...
Why'd they stop the drumming?
They're protesting. Everyone's protesting. A few minutes in, the PA went silent. They weren't announcing anything just so that you could hear the chants. I mean, think about it. Every employee, everyone that's working there, counting their days.
Yeah,
and it might be
to Vegas.
Right. They're not moving to Vegas. And I think the team's going to play the PA.
The PA guy?
Yeah.
He has great voice.
No, the female voice in Oakland.
They have a female voice?
Yeah. Well, it changed in the last couple of years.
Oh,
whatever.
They used to have a great guy.
Yes.
Eric,
she is fantastic now, too. But they all are not going to be working there soon. And it could be in a year or two. I don't think they're staying for the next 4 years. The stadium lease expires. I don't think Oakland's going to be like, yeah, let's just extend it until you get to Vegas. They'll play at the AAA site in Vegas. They'll have better attendance.
You think?
No.
No chance, dude.
No way.
No chance.
No?
Nope.
No.
No way. There's no way the MLB is going to let them go play at a AAA site.
I don't know.
For a full year?
Okay, but what if I'm Oakland and I say...
So they're going to have to throw so much money into the Blue Jays. Remember when they went to Buffalo for COVID? And MLB had to throw all that money in to make it up to par for those 20 games or whatever it was. And they had to throw all that money into Dunedin with the Blue Jays spring training so they could play games there. They're going to have to throw all that money into the AAA stadium, and then they're going to have to build a whole new stadium. It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
I don't know. I read an article yesterday about the team moving to Vegas and how they want the city commission, Las Vegas, to spend $500 million on this new stadium based on the A's. Now, this is the A's ownership saying, well, this is our projection of how many new tourists are going to come into town. They don't even have enough flights from Oakland, where most of the fans are coming into town, to accommodate all these new tourists. So this whole Vegas thing is not guaranteed that it's going to happen. I'm not saying they're coming back to Oakland. I'm saying there's a lot more to be hashed out here that needs to be taken care of. But the ownership, to me, is the biggest thing. Do you really, as the city of Las Vegas, are you like, yeah, I want to put $500 million into an owner that's doing this in Oakland? Like, he's not going to all of a sudden change his stripes because he's bought a nice house outside of the Strip.
I couldn't agree more.
There's too much that has to go right still for them to leave, for me, to go to Vegas.
You don't think they're leaving?
Well, here's the problem. Does Las Vegas really want them? Because I haven't heard anybody from Las Vegas yet come out and say, We are now the Raiders. They said we want the Raiders.
Mhm.
I haven't heard one person from Las Vegas come out and say we're dying to have the Las Vegas A's. Have you?
I haven't seen much publicly from them. I'm only wondering if, since not everything is a done deal, they're just waiting to come out. No,
Maybe, but
the city wants a team. They've
Yeah.
done really well.
maybe they want.
They've done really well with hockey. Did you expect the Las Vegas Golden Knights would be a vibe in Vegas?
They're great games. They're awesome games.
No, I know, but they can do that for MLB. I'm not saying I think a lot of cities can hold an MLB team.
So
I think the problem is the way that this team is run is everything's going to be slime. Do you want that in
Yes.
your city right now? If you're a
That's it.
government official and you have so much power, just say F you. You'll get another team. Don't let them strong arm you.
What
Say
they-
screw
Yep.
you.
Would they have the A's, or would they rather have an expansion?
Expansion team 1,000,000,000%.
Absolutely. You create your own uniforms, you create your own like hype about, hey, come and check out our new magic show. The baseball team in Las Vegas. Like Vegas can sell it. That's easy. Baseball's not the NFL. Vegas has to do a Vegas style. And if they bring in the A's, to me, that's like, hey, we're bringing in this person that broke up with their last girlfriend. I guess it'll work out with us. No, like expansion's close enough. Be patient, Vegas. Don't bring this dude in.
And side note, the person in the breakup is a monster. Do you want a monster in your city? Monster.
Who? Fisher?
Yes. Monster. If I was nose to nose, it'd be like, monster. And you know what he would say? Nothing, because he hasn't spoken the entire time. He has to pay someone else millions of dollars to speak for him because he's
That's
that
the ball,
weak.
right? That's the ball.
Yes. He gets paid millions of dollars to speak for him.
But now here's the problem that the A's are running into now, is the people in Oakland are pissed. The politicians are pissed in Oakland. They keep saying, well, we've tried to do this, we've tried to do that. We haven't done anything to help us. Oh, you want to use Vegas against us? Screw you. You're out no matter what.
Correct.
So now they're almost in a situation where Oakland might not be an option. Vegas, they think is an option, but again, we haven't heard anyone say anything from Vegas' side. So the A's might be in that weird spot where they might be the Nashville A's before we know it.
They might. That's
Or
true.
the Portland A's.
I don't think any cities want that group though. If I'm a city and I see what's going on there, I'd be like, this is too much for me. I don't want this slime in my city. Give me something fresh, something new.
I'm not going to say that
It's
because
not worth it.
teams want or cities.
I
want
know they
teams.
do. I know they do. But under what circumstance?
Why
do you
would
want to
Fisher
deal?
not sell the team?
Because he wants to make a ton of money. He's going to
Okay,
make way
so-
more if the team lands in Vegas, and then he can
More
sell
than
them.
if he sells it for, let's say, $2 or $3 billion.
I don't think it's worth that right now. It's worth that if he actually executes the move.
If he sells it to an owner that says, I'm going to move it to Vegas, and the owner or the new owner says, all right, well, I'll give you, I don't know, $3 billion. I don't know what they're worth, but I'm just throwing random numbers out.
Yeah.
Says, I'll give you $3 billion. Oh yeah, and I'm moving him to Vegas. He'll instantly make that extra $1 billion back.
For some reason, I think they have to have assurances that that's going to happen first. So they want them to get that deal done, and then they can figure out when they want to
Vegas
sell the
doesn't
team.
want that deal done because
They don't want the person.
Yeah, is
I
what
know.
you're saying.
It's a beautiful disaster.
It's a very Vegas tightrope they're trying to walk here.
Well, guess what? We have someone who is definitely an expert on the topic, John Shea, who's a national baseball writer for the San Francisco Chronicle, joins us right now. John, great to have you on. Not sure how much of the conversation you caught just now, but I'd like to say that none of this conversation will be edited in any way, okay? We are going to run it in full. Any signs or photos you have in the background will be shown. We will not edit a different angle out. How are you, and how's it going out there in the Bay Area?
Well, it's a rough season on both sides of the Bay. AJ, your old team, got off to a rough start. They were hoping to contend after, playing 500 ball last year, and that hasn't happened. They ran off a few wins in a row, got swept in Mexico City, and they didn't get Aaron Judge or Carlos Correa, and they're dealing with the free agents they did get. So simultaneously, it hasn't been a great year. It hasn't been one of the best years together. And I think Scott Ostler at the Chronicle wrote that this could be the first 200-loss season in Bay Area history. I think the record is 199 back in 1979. The A's lost a bunch, and the Giants lost almost a bunch. But it's rough because it's unfortunate for the fans that the A's are what they are, and this is a team that has been supported. It has been top five in attendance, top five in payroll. I'm talking way back in the Walter Haas ownership, but lately it's last in attendance, last in payroll, and maybe last in trying. I mean, they've kind of created this mess. It's makes for a better narrative for the case to leave Oakland, even though it's the sixth biggest market in the country, and Las Vegas is the 40th. And you're leaving the Giants a huge territory. While there are three teams in Southern California, the owners are going to agree to have just one team in Northern California. Seems kind of nuts.
John, I wanted to start with the Giants, but since we're on to the A's, let's dig into the A's here a minute before we flip the sides of the bay, and go from the East Bay to the West Bay and get to the Giants. So the A's,
yeah.
What's the scenario you see playing out? They're leaving. Is that because we're arguing about, is it guaranteed they're leaving? What are you hearing on the ground there? They want to leave clearly. Fisher wants to make them terrible to leave. Is there any chance they stay? Is there any chance? Remember, San Jose was an option for a while. What's the feeling on the ground there?
Well, first of all, it's really hard to build a stadium in California. It's much easier to build one in Las Vegas where anything goes. And here you have to have a minimum for affordable housing. You have to have EIRs and such things. You know, it's 2023, and that's just the way it is. The Giants were the first to build their own privately funded ballpark. There were issues with the Padres. They tried to do something like that, and it was just kind of a hole in the ground for many years. Yeah, I mean, the Raiders have left, the Warriors have crossed the bay. Oakland is now a one team market in terms of professional sports. But the A's fans don't want the A's to leave, and this is an ownership group that has tried many different ways. You mentioned San Jose, but also Fremont, also Laney College in Oakland, also the Coliseum site. Santa Clara was a possibility a couple of decades ago to build at the site where the 49ers now play in Santa Clara. So this team is kind of over in terms of trying to leave the Coliseum site or rebuild at the Coliseum site. They've just struck out at every opportunity. And now here's the big one, Las Vegas. I mean, can it happen? Well, Las Vegas is saying no new taxes, and John Fisher is asking for $500 million. So is there a middle ground? I visited Las Vegas during a March A's Reds exhibition series during spring training and spoke with casino owners and government officials and community leaders. And they all think the A's are coming. That's just it. That's just the way they do business. It's going to get done because we're Las Vegas. We do things. Where in Oakland, it's, well, I hope it gets done. You know, I don't trust ownership, but I hope it gets done. But it's really sad because this is a proud franchise, and you know, from the Bass brothers and Ricky and Dave Stewart and Eckersley in the late '80s, early '90s to Bob Melvin's years throughout the early 2000s, where they are always competitive. If you look at this century, they're like fifth in number of times they've been to the playoffs. I mean, it's the Yankees and the Braves and the Dodgers are ahead of them, and maybe one more team, but they're like fifth for most playoff appearances in the 2000s, despite the budget. And the Rays are sort of the A's of the East. They've continued to get it done, but don't complain about lack of revenue. They just outsmart everybody with what they do every year, including this season. And the A's have done that until now. Now it's just forget it. We're just getting rid of everybody. We're not going to put a huge effort into winning because winning doesn't really matter right now because we're not going to draw, and it's a bad place to play. But you know, Mark Kotsay is making the best of it, and they got some young players who are impressive to look at. And they won a game yesterday. They almost won Saturday. They almost won this series, but they've lost every series they've played this year. And they've played the most consecutive games to begin a season without a starting pitcher getting a win in Major League history. So it's rough. It's a rough watch, and it's a rough place to go. But you know what? I used to bring my daughter there a lot because it was, and the fans there love the place. I mean, it's all they know. I grew up in Candlestick, and that's all I knew. So it's like, well, you might call it a dump, but it's our dump kind of thing.
John, this debate has been going on since my Twins teams ended Moneyball, which thank God we did, but that's a whole different argument. But this debate has been going on for 20 plus years, and it hasn't been resolved. So let's go. Somebody make a decision. And the fans of Oakland, the ones that are there, are incredible, like you said. So just somebody make a decision, please. Whether you're staying in Oakland, you're going from Oakland, but Oakland fans deserve better than this.
And it wasn't just current ownership, but going back to Charlie Finley, he wanted to move to Denver. Steve Vucinich, who you all know is the longtime clubhouse man in Oakland, who just retired last year, tells a story about in the late 70s in spring training, he had to pack for Denver and he had to pack for Oakland because the team didn't know where it was going to begin the season. that's how nutty it was. But that was Charlie Finley. And the next ownership, Walter Haas didn't try to leave the Bay Area. The ownership after that, Steve Shaw, Ken Hoffman, they didn't try to leave the Bay Area. They did think of moving to Santa Clara or San Jose, but not the Bay Area. And the whole problem is territorial rights. I mean, the Giants say they have them. The A's actually did a favor, Walter Haas, to Bob Lurie back in 1990, saying Bob Lurie was this close to moving to Florida, to selling a team to Florida interest, and that would become the St. Petersburg Giants before the Rays showed up.
Orlando, John. Bring him to Orlando. We'll welcome him with open arms. We'll build a stadium. They can be the Orlando Mickey Mouses.
The problem is you're leaving the Bay Area to one team. I mean, I wrote that, you're looking at Portland and Montreal and Nashville and Salt Lake City. If the A's leave, the Bay Area better be a pretty dynamic candidate for expansion.
Then they need a stadium.
Well, then you revisit territorial rights and move to San Jose. I don't think the Giants have rights to San Jose. All 14 markets, though yet the other three, LA, New York, Chicago, those teams share the market. They're not divided by counties like they are in the Bay Area. Like Oakland has 2 counties, the Giants have 6 or 7 counties, and you can't move into our county. I mean, the Mets and Yankees don't operate that way. The Dodgers, Angels, and Cubs, White Sox don't operate that way. But for whatever reason, that's how it's done here. And the A's would say, well, why is it done here? Let's get back to it. And the whole territorial rights thing was just a favor. And the favor wasn't returned once the A's tried to move into the Giants' territory, even though the A's allowed for the Giants to have that Santa Clara territory when Bob Lurie tried to put a ballpark there in 1990. So this is an ongoing story, and you're right. Just make a decision. But I don't even think they're close to making a decision because John Fisher is asking for $500 million, and I don't think Las Vegas is prepared to hand over $500 million after they gave, $800 million to Mark Davis to build this beautiful football stadium. Football's different. It's 8 or 9 games. Baseball is 81. Are people going to show up in the desert with a roof when casino owners want these people in their blackjack tables and all these other places? They're wanting to get an NBA team there. They got a WNBA, and they have an NHL team. Bryce Harper said, we don't want an existing baseball team. We want an expansion team, like the success you saw with the Golden Knights in the NHL. We want that for baseball. And Bryce Harper grew up in Las Vegas, so he knows more than most what the folks there want. And maybe the turn of events they'll eventually get an expansion team, and somehow the Bay Area will figure it out. But the only reason the Giants figured it out is because when Bob Lurie tried to sell to Florida, the National League owners voted him down. And the National League owners, including Peter O'Malley with the Dodgers, who didn't want to see the Giants move to Florida, they all said, no, we're going to vote that down. You got to figure it out. And that opened the door for Peter McGowan and all these local investors to buy the Giants in 1992 and hire Dusty Baker as manager and sign Barry Bonds. And the rest is history. They got the ballpark. Now, hopefully, Major League Baseball and all the owners outside the Bay Area, 28 of them, will come to their senses and maybe come to the same kind of resolution.
So basically what you're saying is it's the Giants' fault that the A's are leaving. I read your article, so it's all the Giants' fault. Blame somebody else. That's very helicopter writing of you by just blaming somebody else other than who
I didn't
it
write
is.
That.
I know you didn't.
I didn't write that it's all the Giants' fault. I said partially the Giants' fault.
Partially the Giants.
The story before that said the majority of the fault is John Fisher and Rob Manfred.
Yes. Which brings me to my next point. Did you see the video editing? And how much of that is really going on. Like, this is eye-opening for people, because if you're digesting, and only a few years ago have writers been able to, write what they want because they're being paid by the teams or paid by MLB. Same thing with the video. So this is eye-opening to a lot of people. They edited out people expressing their disinterest in a team and an ownership that's a paying fans.
No, it's a great point. When I started in this business covering the Padres in the mid '80s with Dick Williams and Steve Garvey and Goose Gossage and Tony Gwynn and all these guys, you looking around the press box and it was at least 75% independent media. And now you go and it's maybe 25% independent media in the press box because of MLB.com, because of the rights to the radio stations and the TV stations that air the games and reporters working for these outlets. You don't see as much independent media, and newspapers kind of going away. And there used to be 8 or 9 traveling beat writers on the Giants and A's in the early '90s, and now there are 2. And there's more, internet outlets and on-site, online outlets and such. But it's different than it was. And you're right. MLB can sort of control the narrative and edit what goes into their copy on MLB.com or these other sites, whereas I at the Chronicle and the San Jose Mercury and the Athletic, those are the independent sites, and it's a lot different. So what you saw there was a little censorship, like state-run media say, hey, we don't want anyone to see these posters and these banners of sell the team and John Fisher must go and things like that. And only after they were called out on social media did the folks at MLB react and take it down and put on the original video, which showed those signs out there right field. And I got to commend the A's that they even allowed that. A lot of teams would now not allow posters and banners that are anti-ownership. And the A's have always been different. They've allowed musical instruments and posters and all kinds of creative ways to express, individualism and, how, in fandom and things like that. So, that's one thing I credit the A's. They didn't tear them all down. They left them up there, but unfortunately MLB didn't show them for a while until they were called out and they put them back up.
Okay, John, let's go to a little better subject, maybe. I don't know if it's better or worse for you.
It's a little better.
A little better for Bay Area fans. The A's leaving. The Giants. Were you in Mexico City this weekend?
No, Susan Slusser, our beat reporter, was there.
Okay. I was wondering if you dressed like Gabe Kapler and if you saw the photos of Gabe's outfits that he had with the black hat and the super tight jeans, the whole model look he had going. Did you see that photo?
No, I didn't. But I'm familiar with his wardrobe. He's different than Bruce Bochy, put it that way.
Yeah, he's a little bit. You went from Bochy to Kapler. It's a little bit different.
Different size hat.
Yeah, true. Also,
size hat.
John, my main thing with the Giants is, remember when Kapler took over a couple years ago and they surprised everybody and won the division, and everyone's saying, oh, they figured out something like the Rays did, and they had platoon advantages and they did all these different things and it worked. Every move that Gabe made, every move the Giants made was perfect. Now, last year, it was kind of back to normal. They weren't very good. This year, they're not off to a great start. Has the magic dust worn off in San Francisco, and what's the fix?
Well, I think if it was magic dust, I mean, you're talking about 107 wins in 2021. If you look on the back of those baseball cards, not one person didn't have a career year. I mean, all of them across the board. Offensively, defensively, the pitching staff, the rotation, the bullpen, everybody had a great year. Every single person on that roster. And of course, that wasn't going to happen. And maybe more than that, they lost Buster Posey after that season. So they went into 2022 with, uncertainty in the catching situation. And they became a 500 team. And 500 only because they were pretty hot at the end. They had a losing record most of the year. And then this year, they were hoping to get better defensively and more athletic and maybe even younger. And that wasn't really the case. The defense isn't great. So they were hoping to get a center fielder and, double play, up the middle defense depth. And that didn't necessarily happen. They went with 5 or 6 free agents, spent a lot of money, not as much money as they had earmarked for for Judge and Correa. But the roster, I think, isn't exactly how they had it planned. So there are some deficiencies. Like if you look at the bullpen, there's like too many long relievers / starters in there, and maybe not enough leverage relievers. They don't have a lot of saves, and I mean they've had some really interesting stories. But for the most part, it hasn't gone as planned. I mean, Alex Cobb has been really good as a rotation piece, along with DeSclafani. Webb, not so much. He has the most losses in baseball, but not the ERA. It doesn't have like a A's type ERA of 7 or 8. It's more like 4 something. So there's a little bit of bad luck, but he's given up too many home runs. They strike out too much, and that was the case last year. But they hit a lot of home runs, but they strike out too much. It's like MLB tried to get rid of those, too many home runs, too many strikeouts, too many walks, and create more singles, doubles, triples with all these new rules. But that's the one thing the Giants are old school in. They still rely on home runs and walks and strike out too much. But Blake Sabol, the catcher, is a cool story. He's a Rule 5 guy who. They had all this catching depth, but one by one they kept losing them. And he's kind of a young, talkative individual who's fun to watch. And Tyro Estrada is like 4th in the majors in hitting. But again, overall, it's not where it needs to be. They've had some injuries. Mitch Haniger and was their biggest free agent acquisition, which is a big step down from the other 2 guys I mentioned. But he just came back in the last couple of days, so that'll help because they just haven't hit left-handers well, and he's a guy who does.
What about Bart? What happened to Joey Bart? Just never panned out. He was supposed to.
He's still trying to pan out. He's still on the roster with Blake Sabol, but he just needs to look for consistency. There's a lot of pressure on him to be the next Buster Posey, and shoot. That's nobody's going to be the next Buster Posey. But he was a high draft pick. He came out of the same conference, and a lot of similarities to Buster, but he got hurt, and minor league seasons were kind of detoured by COVID, and he was kind of forced to the majors in some case because of a lack of depth. But now he's a guy who can relax and finally be himself. Pitchers like throwing to him. He's got a decent arm, but it's the swings and misses are too plentiful, and he needs to cut down on those. And when he does, I think he'll be because it's also a confidence. He even talked about this sometimes last year. Anyway, I went to the AAA facility in Sacramento and talked to him. He talked about his mind was just all over the place, thinking about mechanics. All these coaches telling him what to do, and mechanically, he did make some tweaks to maybe cut down on his big swing and attack the inside fastball a little better. But I think I still have faith in him becoming a very serviceable, if not very good, catcher in the big leagues. I mean, he's a big, strong dude, hits the ball a long way, and he's a good defensive catcher. So I think it's just a matter of time. It takes others. I mean, Buster Posey showed up and suddenly won a World Series, and then another one, and then another one. Not everyone could be Buster Posey.
No, you're right. John, appreciate the time. Really enjoyed it, and we'd love to do it again sometime.
Hey, sure. Thanks, guys. Thank
you, John. Appreciate you. And you can follow John Shea, who's a national baseball writer for the San Francisco Chronicle, on Twitter at John Sheahey, Shea. By the way, Joey Bart, I think that was a nice way of saying at this point, not going to be a star. He's 26 years old.
No, yeah.
This happens a lot with catchers. Tough to project sometimes. Ben Davis, who I've done games with, Kratzy knows, he was a big first-round pick. I think Austin Hedges to an extent. Who am I thinking? Who else? There's a lot of guys that get hyped up, and the bat just doesn't come around, and they're solid catchers, I would say. There's a couple others I feel like where they're high picks or high expectations, and they can hang around in the bigs for a while. They're just not going to hit like you think they're going to hit.
Okay.
I don't think. Do you?
No, I agree. That was a name you always hear, and I know he was on the team. I just wanted to hear from someone that's boots on the ground out there what's going on, because Sabol is taking his job, and Sabol is now the everyday guy. So Just wanted to hear where he was and what he was up. I mean, I always feel for the catchers, obviously. I'm sure Kratz does too. You feel for the catchers. But basically what I got out of that John Shea interview was both Bay Area teams are a clusterfuck right now.
Yeah. But the Giants clusterfuck is way, way better. They've got a great
True,
ballpark.
true, but
Oh,
They're just not a good team right now, and they've just been begging for superstars to come over.
why doesn't the guy want to go there? Correa Judge is from there.
Correa did want to go there. He signed, and then they
Well,
said F you.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think part of
They've
it
had
is
a
just
hard
not
time getting
landing the
other
right guy.
stars there.
I know.
Judge, you would have thought he's from up there. That would have been a spot.
He wanted to be a Yankee, though. I think he was pretty clear about that. He got more money
But San
offered
Diego
from
was his
San
second
Diego,
spot.
and he
according
said
to-
no.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to get someone. You had Correa. You listened to
Who?
your doctors. The
who's
Giants
the
had Correa.
next
There's
available
nobody out
free
there.
agent? That's
I
like,
mean,
man,
they're not
wanna-
getting Shohei Ohtani.
Nope. Like
Um,
because they were looking at impact guys, like MVP type of guys. So who's the next available MVP type of guy that is going to be like, yeah, I want to go to that city and
not Juan
play
Soto.
11 years?
Not Juan Soto.
There's no really free agents. This year, the free agent crop is
The
not
position player group.
Yeah,
is
but that's
bad.
what they
The-
need.
The pitching group's good.
they need
I know.
need bats.
Or trade for one.
They don't. I don't think
They
their
tried
farm
for
system-
Giancarlo years back, and
Yeah,
that
they're
probably
probably happy they didn't.
that
have it.
probably worked out okay for them.
But they don't. I don't think they have the impact prospects to make a Juan Soto type deal. They don't have a Mackenzie Gore and a C.J. Abrams and all these other guys lined up to make that
No, not
trade
yet.
happen.
That's why they signed 10 guys per offseason and throw a bunch of veterans out there. And Conforto's working out. A lot of the other ones not yet on their free
Jock's
agent
been
signings.
okay, right?
Yeah,
Jock
Jock's been
Peterson's
okay.
Yeah,
Conforto's
but
been
they're kind of
okay.
overpaying. They're kind of overpaying for the 1-year deals. You know, because I mean that's why these places are going. You know, that's why these guys are going to these teams. That they're giving them. We'll give you a 1-year deal. I know you can probably get 2 years, $20 million somewhere, but we'll give you one for 15 coming off an injury. Feels like there's too much. Like I think Farhan Zaidi is one of the best GMs out there. I just think what John said, they're just missing right now. And I think the other thing he said about was like Joey Bart's coaching. Like I'm looking up this coaching staff. Holy cow. They have so many coaches on the big league roster that it is, if you're having an issue with something, they're gonna have somebody there. Maybe it's a little case of overcoaching. Because they
Could
got
be.
something for everybody.
They have a ton of coaches, and it was a big story a couple years ago. It was a big story when they had the 100+ win season and they won
As
the
a
division.
positive.
Everyone's like, look, they have a coach for every player. That's the new way to do it. It looks great and sounds great when you're winning. And then the
Everything
same
looks great.
coaching staff when you're losing is, are there too many coaches? So
Everything looks great when you're winning.
Yes.
Like John Shea said, every guy had a career year, and that's what it took. The other thing, like Kratz was just talking about with free agents we're talking about, they don't want to go and be platoon guys. And if you go to San Francisco, they're going to platoon you.
Your
They're
value
not going to
goes down.
say, can you imagine Aaron Judge
They're
and
not
Correa
platooning
are
Aaron Judge.
different. But if you're a guy, a good big league player, an established major league player that says, okay, I hit left-handed. I'm not going to start against left-handed pitching. I know that going in. Well, I lose 40 to 50 starts before anything else happens. Okay? That, as a free agent, you look at it and you say, well, okay, they might offer me 1 year 10, or I could go to another team for 1 year 8, but I'm going to get 130 starts compared to 95 starts. That's a big difference in numbers piling up for the next time you're a free agent. So there's different ways people can look at it. Yeah, it works great if everybody has career years and when Gabe makes all these moves. I mean, it's like they used to they'd have their 9 starters, and in the 6th inning, there'd be a lefty starting, they'd bring in a righty, there'd be 5 new guys in the game.
But that's not just – see, Gabe is on the same page with his front office. Farnzaidi
Yes,
did
I
that with the
understand.
Dodgers, and sometimes it worked, and sometimes it drove people crazy. The Pirates right now are one of the top platoon advantage teams. They're taking advantage of that. It can work at certain times, but you're saying for luring a player over, especially a veteran, you're gonna lose it a little bit against that too, right? Like if you're not facing lefties at all, and then the next year you sign with another ball club and you face lefties 60 times the whole year,
Yep.
probably going to hurt you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
I'm
it's
looking
it's
at it from
different.
the player side when you say, hey, And San Francisco used to absolutely be a destination place where people wanted to go. It was 100%. Man, I could play for the Giants.
And it wasn't long ago. So I'm just saying
I'm
that's a good franchise.
I'm not saying it's a bad
Franchise-wise, they've done good things.
No, the ballpark's great. They sell out every game.
Losing Buster is bigger than people think. That guy, what he did for that organization during his career, you can't even quantify it.
I can quantify it.
The 3 championships.
You know how I quantify it? 10-19 team in the NL Central that had a guy named Yadi Molina for $1 billion years. And they did sign a big money free agent catcher. And I'm not putting it all on him, but the starting pitching ERA is close to 5. It's 22nd
I feel like
in the
somebody
bigs.
said that on this show.
Me? St. Louis Cardinals just coming off a 2-8 West Coast drag, swept by the Dodgers this past weekend. 10 games out of first place already in the NL Central. Now, it sounds enormous, but I do think Pittsburgh's going to come back down to earth. But it's the worst start for the franchise in 50 years. Nolan Arenado is struggle city right now. You look at his at-bats. I don't know if you call it in between or he's
he can't
not
hit the slider, which is weird.
I know.
He's always hit the slider really well, and he's just struggling to hit the slider.
He's ice cold. It's not just him, though. The offense right now in runs scored, it looks like he's 20th. Last year, they were tied for 5th. Kershaw was an absolute stud on Saturday. He's pitching great so far. 7 shutout innings, but they got swept.
How much do we put on? We already talked about Ollie Marmol and the O'Neill situation and Jordan Walker getting sent down. Goldschmidt and Arenado play pretty much every day. Tommy Edman has kind of been in and out now, too, since DeYoung's come back. They bounce outfielders in and out all the time. Carlson, O'Neill, Nootbaar, they had Walker. They've got, right? Wilson Contreras catches a lot. Then he DHs. As a player, you want to know kind of where you stand and what your role is. How much is put Kratzy on the struggles on, I don't know if I'm going to play every day. I don't know what exactly I'm doing. Like Jordan Walker, we'll use him. They sent him down to AAA, hits a home run, of course, in his first game. But he was hitting 274, but he wasn't getting to play every day. Well, with this organization, don't you go to Ollie Marmol and say, this dude is the number 1 prospect in baseball. He needs to play every day. But they were like, oh, we need Carlson to play. Who was that guy? We need O'Neill to get his at-bats. We need Nootbaar to get his at-bats. We need Donovan to get some at-bats. We need, what's the big other lefty guy with the beard?
Burleson
to get at-bats. It's like they have too many guys that are trying to get at-bats, and they don't want to hurt someone's feelings and say, hey, guess what? Congratulations. I'm just going to use Dylan Carlson because he's kind of been the super prospect. You're on the bench now, Dylan. Yeah, you were a prospect, but you haven't really produced for 3 years now. Guess what? You're our 4th outfielder now. These other 3 dudes are going to take over. It's almost like as an organization they're afraid to say that to the guy.
They hurt someone's feelings. Jordan Walker. They sent him down with a 270-something
That's the
batting
wrong
average.
guy's feelings to hurt. That's a guy they're counting on for the next 15 years to play right field for
They
him.
gave up fast. I mean, he'll be back soon, but they gave up fast.
Right.
That was drastic.
Instead of saying, hey, guess what? Tyler O'Neill, you didn't hustle. We're going to trade you.
Mm-hmm. I think he's going to get traded at the deadline. They
Yes,
did that
but you
with Bader.
understand.
No, I understand.
Or, Lars Nootbaar, you had a great run with Team Japan, but you're not really producing for the Cardinals. You're our 4th outfielder now because you can play all 3 positions. Or Carlson, you switch hit. You can play all 3 positions.
No, there's no regularity. They're playing different guys. The outfield-wise.
Especially in the outfield.
Yeah, there's a surplus-ish, I guess you could call it, where there's guys that should be playing. And I'm sure if you spoke to a lot of them personally, they'd be like, oh, I can't get in a rhythm. Play every other day.
And their bullpen's been
not good.
Terrible.
Starting pitching, not good.
Too many walks. Gosh, they walk a ton of guys.
Let's keep it in the division. We can ask them about it because I'm sure they're surprised a little bit too. Our guy from the Brew Crew, Rowdy Tellez, joining us right now. Rowdy in the car, but not driving. Just want to be clear with everyone, okay?
Yeah, we're not driving. We're waiting for people, dropping people off for appointments.
All good. Perfect. Rowdy, how you doing? And I just want to carry this conversation to you for a second. How shocked are you that the Cardinals are this bad right now?
Well, you guys know, season's long. Anything could happen. It's a long season. I mean, you look at it. We played Nolan early in the season, and he was struggling, and he's struggling now. But you flip over his baseball card, he's got 30 and 100 every year. So I don't think you're not looking at these first 30 games as anything crazy. It's just one of those where it's like, hey, they're struggling, and they're not really bonding. Like I heard you guys saying, they're kind of rotating a lot of guys in and out. So it is what it is. But for the Brewers, it's a good sign.
As I say, deep down, Rowdy, you're cheering that they're just bad because it gives you guys start piling up games like you've done. Also, do you have any other hat than the Carhartt hat? Because didn't you wear that last time you were on with us?
He's a sponsor.
Oh, you're sponsored
No,
by
I don't know. I'm making that up.
I mean, I do have a lot of Carhartt stuff. It gets cold when I go hunting, so they kind of maybe give me a discount or maybe throw me some stuff. But if they got a problem with it, you always wear the black
I like
hat
it.
backwards.
I like it. I was going to
tell him.
No, I was going to have you. Well, I have to wear the same hat every day, so that's why I was kind of jealous.
Wear it forward though,
because it covers my eyes. I don't want to cover the baby blues, I was wondering if you could send one to Kratz, and if you did send one, would it fit on his big head?
You know what? I do talk a lot of shit about Kratzy, but I got a dome too. You paint this thing up, it looks like a basketball. So I can't really go at him. I mean, he's got a great haircut though. I'll give him that. He's got a good haircut.
No doubt.
Does the cheese head fit you? Does the cheese head? Did they get a special cheese head for you?
Looks like a cheese it.
That's brutal, huh? It looks tiny.
It does.
Like it's not a good look for the big fella. The kid, look, it looks like a Cheez-It. It's terrible. You know them little egg crates you'd sleep on in the minor leagues when you were grinding? Like That's what it looked like. Someone just cut it out of there.
Have you given we had Freddie Peralta on and we asked him if a pitcher's ever going to get, were you going to let a pitcher wear that at some point this year?
No, they don't deserve it. We're going to keep it for the guys that do damage.
So if Freddie Shoves goes 8 or Corbin goes 8 or even a shutout, you won't throw that on their head? It's only for hitters?
Yeah, man, they got to hit a home run. They don't do
I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
Is there DH in the National League? Yes.
I don't think that's going anywhere anytime soon.
Hey, speaking of winning things, all right, so I'm a little bit more invested in the Brewers with our whole Brew Crew show. So you guys are kind of like you guys are my guy. But I'm watching some post-game interviews, and I want to throw out some numbers for you, and I want you to tell me what these numbers are. 23.5, 24.8, 23.1, and 23.8. Do you know what those numbers are?
Yes, that's 4 people's sprint speeds, and I better hope mine's the highest.
It's not. I'll tell you who the 4 people are. All right? Because everybody who's not the national people who are not watching this, Rowdy he's been watching, he's been saying he's faster than Luke Voigt, and he brought Jesse Winker in like it was some kind of like rap like standoff or something. Like Jesse Winker didn't even do nothing, and he just brought him into it. He said, "Yeah, I'm faster than Jesse Winker." So Rowdy's saying he's faster than those two guys. Well, Rowdy Tellez is second slowest on this entire list with a 23.5 sprint speed. Okay?
Hey, it's all about
Jesse Winker's last. And guess who's ahead of you? Luke Voigt and me. My last year of my career. So wear that, kid.
Yeah, man, you know what? They must be getting sprint speeds from them like 3 U's where I don't run hard. And I mean, I don't ground out to first. I'm not running hard. That's just not happening.
What will it take? Triple?
It's like Wheeler trying to go uphill, man. You slow and steady wins the race.
What will it take to beat Kratz in a race besides money? Triple? You hitting a triple?
Beat him now.
We can.
Whoa!
Hey, we're gonna set this up for sure.
We just need a stat cast, kid. We just need a stat cast. All I've been working on is my sprint speed.
Well, at least my stat cast still gets shown up on sprint speed.
Yeah, exactly. I just need it. I need it at the house.
Man.
Oh, we didn't hear what you said. You cut out.
I said, well, they don't have those in Pennsylvania. That's like Amish country. You guys got some weird stuff out there.
Hey, you better be careful talking about Pennsylvania. That's a little bit.
I can't. I'm going there. They know too.
He's got a significant other in Pennsylvania. So you guys need to he needs to be careful. He's a little bit PG when he's talking about Pennsylvania because that's where his father-in-law lives.
I want to go father-in-law. Yeah. We got time.
Fair. Hey,
Oh.
question for you. I was thinking about this in relation to you, maybe eventually in free agency. Would you ever, and you played with him, I think, would you ever say, I don't like a particular team before you hit free agency? Your boy Vladdy Jr. was like, yo, the Yankees are dead to me. Did you see that when he called them out?
Yeah, I saw. Ken Griffey said the same thing, I think. But hey man, money talks. I'm gonna be honest. Yankees are towards the bottom though, because I'd look like a little penis if I had to shave my face and wear a mustache. So it's gonna be a tough look. Pinstripes are slimming, so there's like plus and minuses to it. But I don't know if I can go no facial hair, to be honest.
Come on, what did I say?
Yeah, but
I got roasted by the weirdo TikTok commenters that were like, how dare you ever challenge their facial hair policy? Most players hate it. It's stupid. Just let him be himself.
Yeah, I don't get why that's a thing. I mean, the Yankee way, and I get it, but like, dude, I mean, I feel like that really limits some guys. Like, I think some guys like, I will not go to the Yankees because I don't want to follow rules, or like, don't want to wear certain cleats, or I don't, like the haircut thing. I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, like I said, money talks.
yeah, if they came to you and said, "Hey, here's 20 extra million," you'd shave your face in 5 seconds and be like, "Where do I sign?"
Dude, I'd look like an idiot for 20 extra million.
Exactly.
We all would.
Yeah, exactly.
I might grow my cul-de-sac hair right back out.
Uh-oh. Wait, can we take the hat off? What kind
The
of
U. He's got the U.
It's fresh. It's fresh right now, so I got nothing going.
It's a great
But
bald
yeah,
head.
I'm right here. Straight line back.
Really?
Yeah, it's not good, dude. It's
It's
really
beautiful.
It's not like the hair halo that kind of is a circle and you have a little spot left in the front still. It's just right in the middle.
No, I do. I have a little spot right here that still grows. It's called the Island. I got those. It's tropical. It's a good place though. But yeah, if I could let this go and have a full Friar tuck, it'd be pretty good. I know the San Diego Padres mascot kind of wears me out about it because he says we look the same, and so does my manager and bench coach. They tell me that's my brother. But it's part of it.
Does the mascot actually talk to you? Like he comes up to you and says something?
No, he looked at me in San Diego and he did the old like, and then pointed at him and then back and forth, and I was like, "Hey, dude, hey man, you might have a better body than me, but I bet you I could beat you in sprint speed."
Hey, could you beat Murph? Could you beat Pat Murphy, the bench coach for you guys? Could you beat him in the? I had to say his whole name because we talked about a player earlier that didn't know his bench coach's name, so I had to say Pat Murphy, your bench coach.
No, yeah, I could definitely beat Murph. Murph's a character. He's probably one of my favorite baseball people that I've come across in my entire time as a professional baseball player. He is a treat. I had popped out on like an 11 pitch at bat or something like that versus the Red Sox, and I swung like 7 of them at my chin and kept fouling them off. And I came back in after I popped up the one that was a strike, and I was like, came in and I was like, God damn it, dude, I'm swinging all these balls. What am I doing? I was like, swung like 7 in a row. Murph goes, nah, it's like 4, dude. He goes, but you can go sit down. And I was like, all right, Murph, shut the fuck up. Let me just get angry for a second.
Did you now? If
and corrected, it was 5, and then walked away from me, and I was like, "All right, dude, thanks. I appreciate you just letting me fail on my own. Just let me sulk in my own pain."
if you and Voigt and Winker have your race, have your people race as you called it, would the loser put this up? No money, nothing like that. The loser has to take a bite of the bagel that Murph has for every day game. Because you know where he stores that bagel, or maybe he doesn't anymore since he's healthy.
Yeah, well, it's there. I don't know how often he does it every day game. He's gotten back to back. So I've been 2 opening days with the Brewers, and we've gotten people, and they have no idea. He'll do it in spring training early, wake the guys up. But I mean, that would be a good one. Just walk up to Murph and say, "Hey, like, I need a bite of your bagel or something, or pancake."
That might be some knocks. Tell people where Murph keeps the bagel.
Keeps it in his pocket.
No, he doesn't. You're such a liar.
Front pocket. He that dude is something else, man. And he's like he's like one of the dudes where all the utensils are out to pull out food and spread, and he's just like, oh, I got a hand, and I just like grabs it with his hand. But yeah, he does store his bagel in the front pocket of his sliders. So
that sounds delicious.
Yeah, exactly.
Murph is
That's
legendary.
how you toast
though.
it.
Yeah, slightly toasted. Murph is legendary. You've obviously seen the Jeff Francoeur story when you had him in AAA.
yeah,
They told him the dude was deaf.
That kid was deaf. Yes.
Yes, that is one of the. Have you heard that story?
Yes,
That
yes.
is one. And if you ask Frenchie about it, Frenchie is so nice and so. I don't want to call Frenchie dumb, but he's so nice and so
Just naive.
Gullible.
Just naive.
Like, slightly naive.
He's gullible. They told Frenchie that this kid was deaf in AAA, and it lasted for like 3 months. It wasn't like a couple days. And finally, they told him, and no way. If you haven't seen it, Google
Yeah,
it.
Google it.
It's worth your 5 minutes.
I heard the story for the first time when we were playing the Braves in the playoffs, and Frenchie was doing the broadcast. And we had Jace Peterson on our team, and Jace played with Frenchie on that team. So, like, something came up, and then the story came up, and I was like, the story goes through the whole thing, and I'm looking at Frenchie, and I'm like, dude, there's no way. Come on, man. Like, please tell me at some point you thought this isn't real. He's like, no, dude, I thought it was real. I was like, dude, let's have some common sense here. But you're right. He's like so nice. It's just hard to like, can't say anything to him. It was just funny though. It's a great story. Murph's got a lot of good stories. So Murph was Craig Counsell's head coach at Notre Dame when he played college baseball there. So I got some good like. I asked Counsell, I was like, hey man, how was Murph as a college coach? And he was like, hated him, burning passion, hated the guy. And I was like, oh, so you hated him so much you brought him back to be your bench coach for the last 8 years? And he was like, yeah, 25 years apart does a lot of wonders. I was like,
He used to make, I swear, I think he had Pedroia at ASU because he went from Notre Dame to ASU.
Yeah, he did.
And I think he used to make him, you ground out and you'd have to run back and give the guy a high five that was coming up to the plate. So say you hit like a fly ball, and Murph had a rule where you had to run. Ask Murph today when you see him. Say you hit a fly ball, you'd have to run by the guy coming up and give him a high five or shake his hand.
Why?
I don't know. It was
That's
weird.
weird.
Pedroia told us some weird stuff, I swear, about Murph, where they had to like give him a high five.
Maybe he's just screwing with players, being like, I want to see
What
like,
they'll
if they'll
do.
listen to me.
What can I get Rowdy to do
Yeah.
tonight?
Kratzy, you played for him. You know that man. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me if he did something like that. It really wouldn't.
Oh, for sure. He definitely he's somebody we got to have on here for sure to round out our.
He would love to. He's all
Yeah.
about it. And then, I mean, this guy's like 60-something years old, and he talks shit like he's played 25 years in the big leagues and he's got 2 pensions for some reason. He's been in the Hall of Fame. I don't do it, and it is hilarious. Doesn't matter who. We call him the ambassador. He's the ambassador for the Brewers because whoever we play, he goes and talks to the best player on that team. That's what he does.
He's fearless. Yeah.
He played the Angels, and he was talking to Ohtani, and I looked at him, Murph, he doesn't know what the fuck you're saying, dude. And he was like, no. Universal language. I'm like, no, Murph. He doesn't even know you.
What did he say to him? What did he have a conversation with Ohtani about?
I don't know. Ohtani's the best player on that team, probably, or Mike, who we call Mark Trout, because I just don't want him to know he's the best player in the game, so I do call him by a wrong name.
At first?
Sometimes. I call Bryce Harper Bruce Harper, just to let him know.
Kratzy, you
that,
brought
Scott.
that up. Yeah, I did.
knew that,
I
Scott.
did. What did they say when you say that to them?
Usually they ask me if this is my first year playing, or they but, you know, if you give it out, you got to be able to handle it. So
No, I love that. Did
It's
you
good.
hear, Rowdy, did you hear about this past week, the White Sox broadcaster Steve Stone calling out Lance Lynn? And hey, White Sox have been going through some shit, but he was like, oh, he needs to eat more salads, calling out Lynn. Did you hear about that?
No, I did not. But you said the White Sox are going through some shit. Their announcer does say some dumb stuff too, though. Sorry,
No,
AJ. I know you played there for a while, but like, I think it's
okay.
a different announcer too, huh?
No, it's the same one. Steve
It's the
Stone.
same
He's
guy?
been
A long
there-
time.
Yeah, same guy. Yeah. Wears makeup everywhere he goes, 24 hours a day. Yeah, same guy.
Really?
Yeah, he said that Lance Lynn needs to work on his cardiovascular and mix in some salads, not a salad, salads with an S.
See, now
And
that's fine if you're saying it about yourself. Like I drop, like I need to eat some salads, which I do. It's not a big deal. Or like I told Wolfie, the umpire, Jim Wolf. You know, you guys know him. He's jacked, wears the tightest shirt in any umpire. And I saw him. I was like, "Hey, man, you're looking a little fat." And I sent over some candy bars. And in Milwaukee, like the clubhouse to the umpire's room is like you can deliver it yourself, which I didn't. And then so I sent over a couple of candy bars, and he like saw me and started laughing. And then the next day, he sent over a big old cup of shredded lettuce, and he goes, "You could use this." And I was like, "All right, dude, good, it's good, man." But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Lance is not too worried about his salad consumption. I think he throws well enough.
It's all about how you play on the field, right?
Yeah, it don't matter how you look in a uni as long as you're putting up numbers.
Absolutely. Hitting dingers, which you are. But we had a guest on earlier, and I asked him, well, we've had a couple of them. I asked him, you got to take 3 teammates from your team. 1 you got to cut, 1 you got to trade, and 1 you got to room with. Who are the 3 from the Brewers for you?
Dude, that's kind of, you guys always put me on the spot with these questions.
It's just Kratz. He's a punk.
It's just me.
Yeah, notice
I don't do that.
We don't do that.
Yeah.
Just me.
1 teammate, trying to think.
Kratz, tell him who called him out.
You got put down for 2 of them already, so just so you know.
Who was it?
I'm not telling him. I don't want to change his answer.
I think Yelly's the one I'm gonna room with.
Because you don't have to pay for anything?
Exactly. Nailed it. What was the other 2? Cut and what?
Trade.
I'm gonna. Corbin Burns said it.
What?
I don't know. Somebody popped on the screen and said
Oh.
something.
Whoa!
That wasn't us. That's the behind the scenes crew.
Whoa!
Production staff outed. Don't be MLB editing shit.
Wow. This is Oakland A's all over.
Wow.
I would.
Was it
I
a
would
female
cut-
voice or a male voice?
I would cut Eric Lauer.
Okay.
He just needs to go. And then I think I would trade Garrett Mitchell.
Okay.
I think we can get some good TikTok stars in return for him.
Forget prospects. We want TikTok people.
Yeah, we need
good.
entertainment.
Hey,
But
Rowdy,
yeah, it was Burns. Burns
course.
said, I just want to cut Rowdy just because it sounds like fun. And I think he said he would have traded you because that would be fun too.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Burnsy can have his time to shine. I'll let him have it. He's been clowning on me for a while. Just wait till he throws one of those 100-mile-an-hour balls over to first and I miss it again.
Did I hear a glove issue from this past weekend, and then you have a new assistant named Bryce Terang? Is that all true?
Yeah, so like I've used the same glove my entire career until this year. It was the first year I've used a different glove. And I was just warming up the infield, first inning of the game, yesterday. First inning of the game. And the hitter gets to 3-2, and I look down at my glove to like pull the string to tighten it a little bit. No string, it's gone. There's like a hole in the middle of my like web. And I'm like, look at the umpire. I'm like, time. And he's like, do you want to take it now? And I'm like, yeah, that's why I said it. And he was like, well, the pitch is coming. And I was like, no, it's not. He's standing on the mound. So then the pitch happens. The kid fouls it off. And I'm like, time. I need a new glove. Bryce knew. I was like pointing at my glove, and Bryce knew exactly what I meant. So he goes running into my locker. And thank goodness my locker is the one closest to the kitchen, which therefore is closest to the field. And he grabs 2 gloves and comes running back out. And I was like, no, neither of those are broken in. They're just like gloves that are not really broken in. I was like, go grab my old gamer, the 10-year-old one. I was like, and it's in the box. So he pulls out like the glove box and he brings it out. And he flings it to me, and I run by the first base coach, and he goes, that is the ugliest glove. And I was like, thanks, man. I didn't really need your opinion. But yeah, so I had this old crusty glove I played with the rest of the game while I get my other one relaced. But yeah, I had to bring out Old Faithful. I was scared it was going to disintegrate. Things old.
Well,
It
thanks
was
to
a-
Bryce.
Who was the coach? Wait, first of all, who was the umpire? And what?
Gabe Morales.
Why didn't they let you have time? You could only one disengagement from the first baseman per game, or one timeout per game.
I think I don't know. You know, umpires, they want to have some control. He's sorry. He's just sorry. We'll go that way.
We get it. We get it.
Yeah.
get it.
So the coach was I don't know his first name, but Mayshore with the Angels.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I don't know his first name.
Justin.
Sure.
I was gonna say Damon. Wasn't there
Great.
a Damon Mayshore?
Damon?
Damon Mayshore didn't
No.
he play?
I don't know.
Oh.
Johnny's down the street, but Damon. All right, I got one more. Because we haven't talked to you since. You continue to pulverize the Red Sox, and do you wish you played them more?
So I do, yes.
Yankees play them all the time.
Yeah,
Ooh.
but
Yankees
It's not
play them
worth the
all
shade.
the
it's not
time.
worth the
I
shade.
told you I would trade looking like a penis for a lot of things. Probably to play the Red Sox a little bit more. No, their media came up to me and he was like, one of their guys was like, "Do you like playing the Red Sox?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Why?" I was like, "I don't know, they give up homers." And he was like, "Yeah, but is there something about them?" And I was like, "No, it's just one of those teams, man. Everybody's got one team that made them that much better." And he was like, "Yeah, but you seemingly just always do it against the Red Sox." And I was like, "Yeah, I really just don't like you. That's the issue." And the guy was like, took it super serious. He was like, "What do you mean? I've never talked to you." And I was like, "Yeah, it's just you, dude. It's nothing against you, but you work for the Red Sox, so therefore I don't like you, so I don't like the Red Sox." And he got offended. And I was like, "Hey, man," at the end, I was like, "It's a joke. Smile, laugh. You take your job way too serious."
That's a perfect thing to say.
He was about to write some
Oh.
breaking article, like Rowdy targeting Red Sox media.
Man, you were about to get destroyed by the Boston media.
Fat, bald penis goes 0 for 3 in the last game. It would have been bad. They don't like me.
Actually, would have upped your value though if they wrote that. Yankees would have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then he asked me, he was like, "Would you ever play for the Red Sox?" He was like, "That's one way to stop you." And I was like, "No, because then I wouldn't be good." I was like, "I'll never play." Maybe that's
That would bring your career numbers down.
Sox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're perfect. You're perfect for the Brewers. You know you're perfect for the Brewers.
Dude, I've inspired every 46-year-old plumber that goes out for a Sunday league game. He's like, "I can do it." They all wear number 11 now, so they look even smaller because I have single ones, dude, do not look good on my back. It's a big back. It's a little skinny number. It doesn't work, but I you know what? I roll with the punches, but I've inspired some real dudes that have blown out their hamstrings on their Sunday league games thinking I could be Rowdy Tellez. Same hair, same body.
All throughout Milwaukee. Speaking of Milwaukee,
Dude.
Did you see the cheese race?
Yeah. Do you want me to comment on it?
I do want you to comment on it.
What?
No, we don't.
That was the dumbest thing I think I've seen on a baseball field in the big leagues. I've seen some dumb things in the minor leagues because, it's cheesy, but that was dumb. And they came, and the social media person, she was like, "What do you think of that?" I was like, "I think that was the stupidest thing I've ever seen in a baseball game. That was a legitimate waste of time. We could have done so much better. We could have done a beer chugging contest. We could have done a cheese eating something." Like I said, instead you had a fat Cheez-It running around, tripping and falling, letting the fan win. I was like, can we have an original thought just once? Not try and copy the freeze? Can we just one original thought?
They do. They have the sausage race.
Yeah, the sausage race.
Yeah,
is
that
great.
was and then they're trying way too hard. Sausage race is cool. I used
Have
to
you
try
gotten into a sausage? Have you gotten into a sausage yet?
No, I don't know if I'd fit. To be
Which
honest.
one? Well, if you could, which one would you be?
Which one do you think I'd be?
Chorizo.
I figured. I loved where your head's at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's
What's
exactly
an original idea? Give me
It's
something.
because it's Mexican. It's cool, but I would have gone there too.
Listen, I'm Polish. I would have been the Polish. That's just
That's
what
why I
you
said I
want to
love
do.
where your head's at.
Yeah.
Those are the subtle chirps that nobody really gets. They're like, "Oh yeah, Teresa, that's cool." Maybe because he's brown. No, not because it's just he's Mexican. But I liked it. Those are the good ones.
Well, last time when we had you on, you were playing for Team Mexico. You were talking about tequila and fiesta. So I figured chorizo mixed in chorizo tequila fiesta, you got a hell of a fiesta.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we get some queso fundido dip or something, in the middle.
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right. So last thing, Rowdy, before you jump, give me one original idea that you would want to implement if you were head of marketing.
I would do something like maybe you chug a beer, then you do the old spin around, head on the bat, put on some drunk goggles, make a run for it, and try and cut cheese. Like cut a piece of cheese at the end, eat it, and then have to run through a line. That'd be sick.
There'd be so many
Might have to
lawsuits.
replace some ACLs at the end, but it'll be good.
Not to mention, you need a knife to cut the cheese, and you spun around, chugged a beer,
And
and,
you're wearing
have
those
the
big-
goggles
those-
on.
those
And
Yeah.
that's the game. You could still lose a finger and win. It's just how bad do you want it?
The ultimate waiver would have to be signed.
I was going to
to
say,
play
I can
that
only
game.
imagine the waiver.
Never. MLB can't even show a sign saying "sell the team in Oakland." Do you think they're going to allow that?
Yeah.
You know what? I turned on the TV and I was watching some highlights in the basketball games, and that popped up on ESPN, and I was like, that's brutal that they had to turn that and like edit it, and they couldn't have it on TV. I was like, that's not cool.
No.
It's just
no.
Wait, do the Brewers go to Oakland this year? Do you guys go to Oakland this year?
no, they come to us.
Oh, darn it. I was gonna make sure we talked to you after. I wanted the full report on the Oakland Coliseum when you went there.
Dude, I've played in the Coliseum. For the first time I ever played in the Coliseum, it was the first time I'd ever played on the West Coast as a in general and just in pro ball since high school. And we played 4 games, and I had 350 people at each game.
So you had half the stands.
Yeah, we had 2 sections sold out. My dad called and was like, "Hey, my son's playing. We're from it's the closest he's been. We're like an hour and 20 minutes away. Can I buy a couple sections?" They're like, "Yeah," and they were like $7 a ticket. And so we had a bunch of family, bunch of friends, and it was just like, it was crazy. We had like a big cookout after the game. The cops kicked us out. We were in the parking lot just having a good time, like not doing anything wrong, and cops kicked us out. I thought like maybe they thought we were illegal or something, but we all had documentation, so we were good.
I forgot Bay Area. Like you're there.
So were you an A's fan growing up? Or
No,
a
he was
Giants
Giants.
fan?
No, I was a Giants fan, dude.
Yeah.
I told you, I asked for your autograph at a game when I was a kid, and you told me to fuck off.
There's no way I said that, but maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I got the
probably.
heights. Hey, real quick, last one. Before like all along those lines, I train at Matt Kemp's gym in the off season in Texas, and so I had really long hair when Matt was like in his prime out there in LA, and I started a rumor in the gym, and it sounds super true. I was like 10 years old, and I showed up to a Giants game early, got into batting practice, and the Dodgers were taking batting practice, and Matt was on pace to win the MVP, and I went down there. I was like, Mr. Kim, can you sign my ball? And he said, "Not now, fat Jesus. I'm not going to sign." And like everybody believed it. They were like, "Matt, why is this real?" And Matt was like, "No." And I was like, "Yeah, it is, dude." And I showed him the picture of me as a kid, and they were like, "This sounds real. This sounds like something Matt would do." And I was like, "You know what? It's a good rumor to start, and it really is, but it wasn't true." But
Hey,
it was
Giants fans don't need any more reason to hate me, Rowdy. So we don't need to pile on
They don't
maybe
hate
true
you, dude.
stories.
They don't hate you. There's a Giants jersey in the background. You're just trying to win them over again.
No, that's Bonds though. That's Bonds.
They like Bonds.
They love Bonds. I know.
Yeah,
What
Yeah,
number
that's
did you
fine.
wear there?
It's retired. We can't talk about it.
Yeah.
36. Gaylord Perry.
Yeah, good. He was good too.
Yeah. I played with Matt Kemp. I could see him also doing something like that after having played with him. He could definitely say "fuck off" at Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, I didn't know you played with him. Were you in Atlanta?
In Atlanta, yeah.
Yeah. See, now like that you played with him, it sounds real.
It also sounds like something I would do. So that's kind of why I said I didn't say that. Well, maybe I did say that.
Yeah, it's okay, dude.
I'll send you an autographed ball now from Kratz. It'll make up for it.
Good.
There
it is,
sprint
right there.
speed on
That's
it.
the one I
There it
want.
is. Come full circle. Ratty, great catching up, dude, and enjoy those appointments. And we'll talk to you in a couple weeks. All right.
Well, sounds good. Thanks for having me again, guys.
Cheers, man. Always enjoyed it.
All right.
Woo.
Thank
That
you,
was
guys.
fun.
Have a good one.
You too. The great Rowdy Tellez with us on FT Live. I don't want the conversation to end, but
That's
I know
really
everyone's
funny.
got a life
He's got
to
some
do.
one-liners, man. They're
He's
great.
so good.
When he said he looked like a giant penis and pinstripes, that was pretty funny.
He's on my
That's
side.
what he said. He said he was just trying to look like Kratz when he played for the Yankees.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
He is definitely that guy. You talk about teams that need energy. Hey, look, he's whacking balls out of the ballpark too. Like he had 30 plus pumps last year. He's not just a mascot race, but
Oh, hell no. He's a stud.
He is that guy that keeps everything light. And you know what? He's still going to be funny on days when you suck. And it helps you not worry about the suckiness on that day. And it's a value. It is a huge value. You talk about glue in a clubhouse.
Let me go back to one more headline that I wanted to cover from the weekend. Did you guys watch the Mexico series
Dude,
at all?
You can't go there just because Rowdy said he wanted to beat Chorizo. Now you're going to that's
No,
wrong.
I think
That's wrong.
I
Tell
would
him,
be-
Kratz, that's wrong.
what-
Because
what's the word? Remiss? I'd be remiss. Is that the word?
Yeah.
If I did not mention the series this past weekend, no, Rowdy would be like, how do you not mention that coming off the way that series looked in Mexico City? I mean, that looked like a freaking party.
Looked like a good place to hit.
Food
is what
looked
it
great,
like.
and it looked like every position player is going to be petitioning with MLB that their team should spend some time in Mexico City because it's a half mile above the elevation of Coors Field, which, is pretty elevated. So game one, just in game one, 16-11, San Diego won, 11 homers, 30 hits, 27 runs in that first game.
Did you see
Offense
the
cooled
Brandon
off a little
Crawford
bit.
one?
Yes.
He hit the home run foul. He trotted all the way around the bases. It took like 5 minutes to figure out it was foul. They're like, oh, by the way, foul. Next pitch, homer.
Blast.
I mean, blast. It was like a 5-minute delay. They couldn't figure out if the ball was fair or foul. They're looking at it. Oh, it's foul. Come back. Next pitch, whack, homer.
Kratz sends me the BetMGM total for that game was 15.5. Kratzy, am I?
15.5 for the
And
first game.
he's like that seems high even for a game like this, right? We're texting over the weekend, and I'm like, I don't know. I'll try and find the combo. And we didn't end up touching it, right?
I don't know. Yeah, you said I don't know. I said we'll see. It is higher though, isn't it? And so I'm like, I want to watch. Way over.
He goes, have you ever seen an over-under at 15.5? I feel like I have to take the under at -110. I get it that it's in Mexico City, with the elevation and all that, but holy crap. And I was like, it's way above sea level, but that is steep. I don't think I've ever seen that line. And then I texted him a few hours later. I think it was a typo. Line should have been 25.5. That was like the London series. Remember the London series?
Yes.
And
They're
it
doing
was
it again this year too. The London series.
London, yeah, 17-13. Yankees won the first game, so that was 30. So they beat that number. And then the second game was 12-8. So there were more runs in those two games than the ones in Mexico City. It was fun to watch it just for like a mini series like that. I also think the Padres needed a little jump. And a lot of the guys were saying they were really looking forward to this series. They had a blast. They're rocking the sombrero. There was just a lot of, I would say, a lot of enthusiasm. Like they were not just the Padres, but both sides also just kind of being themselves, more personality, having fun with the crowd, and it was fun baseball to watch. Everyone homered, so anyone that's maybe sluggish right now, like maybe Soto goes on a tear, Tatis homered, Nelson Cruz is hitting like 300. It was fun series. Not fun for the Giants because they got swept in the two games, but that was enjoyable to watch. Good TV product.
It's good too, and I think Kratz will back me here that when you have a little break of the same routine in the same places and you get to go to a new place, it brings a different energy to your body and a different energy to the team, no matter which side you're on, because whether you're the home team or the visiting team, if you get to go to a Mexico City, you get to go to we did a Fort Bragg game in the middle of the year. You get to go to some of these places and you're like, oh, this is a different place. We did Puerto Rico when I was with San Francisco. It just, man, this isn't the same place I've been to 10 times already. Oh, this is a new place, a new hotel, new things, new restaurants, everything. It just brings a new energy to the whole team on both sides when you walk into a new place. And especially, usually when you go to those places, there's a huge crowd. And that always helps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know who didn't like it? All the traveling secretaries, the traveling equipment guys. because they're packing up for, into a place they don't know what they're getting into. They're just, they're grinding for those 2 games. But yeah, it's awesome. I loved it. I loved everything from the bobbleheads that looked really creepy and scary to the dingers. And the dingers weren't even like first row guys. They were like 10, 15 rows up. And it was like, it looked like batting practice out there. Nobody's slider was sliding. It was just, hey, you get a home run. You get a home run.
It was awesome. Yeah, more of that. The on-location stuff almost never misses
No.
when you go to a different spot.
No.
Has there been a bad one?
I'm trying to think off top of my head. Has there been a failure? I mean, obviously, Field of Dreams is insane. London series was cool, interesting.
Australia, that was tough for those guys.
Yeah.
Where they did
Japan
that at the
and
beginning of the
Australia are
year.
tough.
Yeah.
Especially when they go over and they play 2 regular season games and they come back and do spring training again.
I know. It's a weird setup, but you're dealing with such a drastic time difference. You can't jump someone in the middle of the season to do that. The only other time I was thinking of is, can you do that like right before All-Star break or something? Because then they're going to bitch about
All-Stars.
Yeah, the All-Star. Yeah, it's just tough. I like that. I mean, especially, both spots, but Japan, especially right now. I mean, baseball's probably bigger than ever out there. Doing some games out there is, I would say, necessary.
Awesome.
Like they gotta do once Ohtani moves teams next year, you got to set up a series pretty soon where that new team that he signs with for $500 million gets to play a couple games at some point in Japan, the major league side.
They will.
Yeah,
They definitely will. If it's whatever team it is, they'll say, "Well, we can make up $100 million in these 2 games."
Mm-hmm. MLB will be all over it. They're probably already planning it. So injury updates. Let's go over some big ones here. Aaron Judge, mild hip strain, didn't play this weekend. Not sure if he's going to hit the injured list. And newsflash, which is what I thought last year in the second half of the season, the Yankees are not great without him. They lost 3 of 4 to the Rangers. They're also missing a ton of other players, but they're a different ball club without Aaron Judge in every way. Not as intimidating of a team. Texas handed it to them. Nate Eovaldi with a shutout the other day. 3 hits, 8 Ks. First 9-inning
What
career.
award did Aaron Judge win last year?
Most valuable player.
Oh, what his team did what? They went to the playoffs last year?
With the worst freaking like pain on his back because he had to take the whole damn team, and there's some big dudes on that team, throw all of them on his back, and I know he's a big dude, and carry them through the entire second half of the season where basically no one else could hit a baseball.
Yes. And now you see he's missed this weekend series, and how did they do? They lost 3 out of 4. So he was deservedly given the most valuable player last year. And I know Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, I get it. Their numbers might be better, but when you come to value, I don't know if there's a player more valuable to their team than Aaron Judge is to the Yankees. Presence, hits, big hits, outfield defense, clubhouse presence, buying dudes suits, taking dudes to dinner. He's the guy in New York, and that's why he won the most valuable player last year.
Yeah, there's nothing. I mean, this team is aging with some youth that are going to need to step up. Like, I'm not saying the whole lineup is aging, but when you mix injuries in, there's no way around it. They're in last place. They're in last place in their division. And in my opinion, it's not Aaron Boone's fault. It is more of how these players are playing. And I think it's a really good team. I picked them to win the World Series. So I'm going to have to sit here and say, yeah, we got to right the ship. I think the Rangers are a little bit better than people. We'll get to them a little bit later, but I think the Rangers are maybe one of the best surprises so far in this early season. But the Yankees, they need guys to step up. They need guys to play a little bit better defense. They need maybe a little bit of a Rizzo hot month of May. They need LeMahieu to get on base, and they need Volpe to be the reason that they called him up. 191 to start the season. He's got to pick it up a little bit, not just take his walks and take his strikeouts too.
They didn't Jordan Walker him though. They're giving him time to figure it out first month of the season. But you're right. They're a last place team. They're 15-14, but they're 8 games back. If you're thinking about the division, you have a lot of work to do already.
There are a lot of games left, though. with the
I know.
Rays. But the Rays have owned them the last few years, too.
Yeah. And the biggest thing is, just like we said at the top, Aaron Judge needs to be on the field. You can get a lot of your other guys back and they'll be good. This team is still, in my mind, quite Judge reliant. You see it from this past weekend. They have 12 guys on the IL right now. That's not including Judge. He's not on the IL. He's just out at the moment. And the total salary for all those guys, $117.8 million, according to Ryan Phillips from the Big Lead. Giancarlo, Rodon, Donaldson, Severino, our boy Canley, Lou Trevino, Bader, Frankie Montas, Lizaga, a couple other league minimum guys.
How about that trade, Frankie Montas?
He
pitched what? How many innings last year?
And he was
3, 5,
damaged.
8.
He was broken.
He was broken when he got there.
I know.
But they still had to pitch him.
Yeah.
And he pitched not very much. And then this year he hasn't pitched at all. Severino hasn't pitched, I feel like, in 3 years since COVID, maybe 2020?
No, I mean, he pitched a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean,
year.
I'm talking
no,
about
I know.
giving you what they
Significantly
count. 25 to 35 starts.
Yes.
Rodon, they were counting on him to back Cole. Cole's been unbelievable, but they were counting on Rodon to be that second guy. He hasn't pitched. And remember, he was coming back, and then all of a sudden, no, wait, he's out another month.
Yeah, a setback.
So it's how do we get these guys on the field? Donaldson, hamstring, right? And he's been out for a while.
Although most Yankee fans don't want him to come back.
Yeah, but
I know. I mean, you need the depth. Yeah, Montas had the surgery again on the shoulder, and you didn't know about it until pretty late in the offseason. And he's going to miss, the last I checked, most of this season. I'm not sure when he's coming back. He's made 8 starts, Montas, with the Yanks in his time so far. 6.35 ERA. So, yeah, some trades not working out. I put most blame on front office. I just think roster construction, just too often you look at the team, it's a little bit older, it's a little bit injury prone, and I think they have work to do. It's a competitive division. You're very reliant on one player still, which is crazy for a team with that kind of payroll. But I just don't think it's the best roster construction in my mind. We can get to the other squad there for a second because you thought they'd be devastated, Kratzy. Jacob deGrom, out. Problem. As Evan Grant told us a few days ago on the show, who writes for the Dallas Morning News, he was like, this team makes the playoffs if deGrom is healthy. Well, he's not healthy. He's had multiple injury issues already. When he's on the mound, best stuff in the game. Still, when you've watched him.
He gets weird injuries, though.
Yeah,
wrist, remember he came out of the game with a wrist?
But this one right now is more of your standard
forearm strain,
elbow,
which usually
could be
leads
UCL.
to the next thing.
Yeah,
so we don't even want to go there.
He had TJ a long time ago, Tommy John in 2010, and then he had the UCL injury in 2021. Didn't get surgery, didn't need it, I guess. No structural damage on the recent MRI for him, but it's going to be tough to try and be a postseason team without Jacob deGrom, your big money signing. 5 years, $185 million in the offseason.
There's no structural damage, then why the heck is he on the IL, Kratzy?
Nope.
I feel like we're not getting the whole story.
Really?
Yeah. Inflammation.
So we're showing Bob Nightingale. He wrote, since signing with the Rangers, deGrom, spring training side tightness, April 17th, wrist soreness, Friday, elbow inflammation, Saturday, IL. What are we missing? What's the story that's missing for him?
I mean, there's got to be something, because if he's not, I would choose to believe he's not just like, you know what, just doesn't feel good. Like, I get it, there's no structural issue, but how many times do we hear no structural issue, just 15 days, you got to come back? Like, if there's really nothing and there's no pain, like, he's being upfront about what the issue is or what he's feeling. Maybe he doesn't want to pitch unless he's 100%. I have a hard time to believing that. I think there's something more going on there. And the dude throws 1 billion miles an hour. And I think the article really, really hit it correctly. It was right on the nose. Like, we are so used to seeing Jacob deGrom at such greatness that every time you're like, it's kind of like a rubber band. Like, you pull it as far as you can because you want to just shoot that thing as far as you can. But at some point, you keep pulling the rubber bands, snap. Oh, that was the time. And it's just like, hopefully this is only, the minimum IL stint for him, but you hold your breath. You hold your breath and you hope it's not what, it usually ends up being when you say flexor tendon strain or forearm tightness.
Well, at least he told the trainers and not two guys on the bench.
He'll be here all day, folks, for your White Sox digs. Here's Andy McCullough from The Athletic. Great graphics, as always, from Dugout Report. Every time deGrom takes the mound, you wonder if you'll ever see him after this moment. I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's a stretchy rubber band for me.
Yeah, that's a little much. Maybe a little tongue in cheek.
Yeah,
I don't go.
But still, I want to see.
Is this his last pitch? No. I do want to see him healthy. I just don't expect him to give them those kind of starts. It's not the same exact situation, but I don't expect significant starts from Kershaw every year with the Dodgers. I'm expecting IL since. I'm expecting in the maybe low to mid 20s is a success for him with the Dodgers. In my mind, that's how deGrom is. You're going to get ultimate quality. You're just not going to get quantity. So you have to be okay with that. For Texas this year, it's a problem because you're at best a fringe playoff team. In the future, they keep building up. You have him in a year or two, and he still looks like this when he's on the mound. Then he's your big shot Bob Robert Ory. Bring him in for the big stuff. Take care of him. Maybe it's once a week for starts, and make sure he is prime and ready for the postseason.
But is he? Let's say he just can't stay healthy. Now you're bringing up Kumar Rocker, Leiter, and you're around this guy. Is that a negative? Like, is that a negative in a sense where you're sitting there going, hey, we'd really like you to more hang out with Evaldi. Like, he's giving us 30 starts. That's what we're looking for from you. Or is it something that, they're like, you know what? He's just a bad luck, the injury bug, how the organization handles it or how they paint that picture.
Yeah. But you can't just have him there for big games. You got to get to the big games.
Clemens only pitched at home down the stretch, right?
He's not Clemens.
No, he's not. Okay. Clemens got 7 Cy Youngs in his back pocket, okay? But here, Clemens negotiated a deal where he would only travel the day he pitched. He wouldn't go on road trips. He'd just show up the day he pitched. Even at home, he would just show up the day he pitched.
They only needed him for that day.
Yeah, but that's still the craziest deal I've ever heard of. Barry Bonds, the year I played with him, we showed the jersey. 2004, that was the year Clemens had that deal. Barry said, why can't I get that deal? I said, Barry, you play every day. Yeah, but I want the same deal Clemens has. I said, Barry, you play every day. You can't take trips off. Yeah, we're going 3 days to somewhere you don't like. You can't say, well, I'm not going there because I'm not playing. You play every day.
What did he say?
Come on, I want that deal. I'm like, no, come on, Barry. Like, you play every day.
There's some teams that would have signed him up for that if that was his request.
No chance.
Nobody wanted to sign him up for it.
For video game numbers, you wouldn't take it some of the time from him?
Some of the time, no.
If Barry said, I'll give you about a half a season, body's breaking down, and I'm just going to go pick my road trips, do my thing like the broadcasters do when they start to retire.
You cannot set
or when they get retired and they go, oh, now you're only going to do the
So you're going to play a guy short for those 3 games and he doesn't want to go on a road trip?
If it was that kind of production, I don't know. Teams would do some crazy shit.
No chance.
No?
They all had a shot at him. His OPS, his last year was 1,045, and nobody signed Barry Bonds.
True.
They all had their shot. And MLB got together and said, do not sign him. But there's some teams that were like, yeah, but he had 1,000 OPS. That's like really good, and I think we need that on our team. And MLB was like, no, do not call him.
We're done with him. Yeah, you're right. It's crazy. Let's move on to one more injury report, and this is on the positive end of things. Bryce Harper coming to a ballpark near you. He might be back tomorrow. What? Fastest return ever from Tommy John surgery to the Phillies lineup as early as May 2nd. Well, today's May 1st. What?
DH, baby.
That's awesome though for Phillies fans. As long
He
as he's
is.
good, as long as he's good to go, and everyone they're saying he is. Medical staff knows what's up. He just is returning at a rapid pace. Dude in his prime who wants to get back on the field. Yeah, you're right. DH, that's fine. Phillies will take him at DH.
100%. And maybe some first base, mixing it in. You don't have to throw that much at first base. What would be strange is after the now they have to throw it around. Is he going to underhand it to the second baseman to throw it around?
Is he going to?
Yeah. So he doesn't have to throw as much?
He's not. Is he going to
He's
play
not
first
playing
from the
first
jump?
next.
No, he's not playing first
That's
for
what
a
they were
while.
working him out with.
They are,
Yeah.
but not yet. That's probably in what, a month?
More than that. I don't
More
see
than
him
that.
on the field until after the All-Star break.
Well, he's going to play tomorrow. He's on the field.
DH.
Oh, well,
DH.
still on the field.
Hey, props though. If he's
Yeah,
getting
mad
back
props
that
to him.
quick,
If he's back, it's like 6 months.
yeah, that is.
That's like
speedy,
Adrian
speedy.
Peterson from the ACL injury
Mhm.
back in the day when he came back. Everyone was like, what? Some people are just built different. I need a shirt that says I'm built different.
And Bryce has them all,
He has it.
and they're not for sale. Let's do our locks because we looked pretty damn good the other day. Your BetMGM locks for Monday. First, we backtrack. Friday, Kratzy and me just winning money. Run line for Texas. They won 5-2. It got close, even though your boy Piece of Schmidt looked bad again. I'm sorry. 5 runs in 5 innings. I think he had a career high 10 hits allowed. But then Yanks bullpen shut it down. It was not easy, but they pulled off the dub. And that's when deGrom left early. Otherwise, he probably was going a couple more innings. I mean, he looked ridiculous. And then you looked good, Kratzy. Little Guardians run line action. That was the Bieber game?
Need it. Bieber did what he needed to do. I think it ended up being 6-1, 6-2, something like that. It was easy dub.
And Brock Star was void because his game was rained out. Just rookie mistake not checking the weather. But that's okay. Nothing up, nothing down. Little update to the status here as Kratzy and me continue to be pretty much a mirror image. But I don't know. Don't let Kratz get hot. 14-8, 7-14, 4-11. Let's do this. BetMGM locks for Monday. AJ back in the mix. Do not touch White Sox games anymore. Whatever
I'm
you
so
do.
mad because I was going to take him today. I was like, they win the game yesterday. Pedro Grifol got kicked out of 2 games in a row before they won 2 games in a row. This is the chance. Oh wait, they're off today. Dang it.
That's like
Not
that's not
picking
even a
White
Bellinger
Sox.
pick.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to go White Sox today. Who you got today?
Whoever you have, Scott. That's it.
Are
That's
you
my new
telling me?
philosophy. I'm just telling whoever you picked. I don't even know who you picked, but I'm just picking Scott's
Are you
pick.
actually telling me today?
Yep, that's my pick.
No
Ask Claudia.
freaking way.
That's my pick. I think it was Padres run line.
That is correct.
Yes, that's who I got.
Padres run line. So we'll combo
I'm going to
this.
bring you down with me.
It's a collab pick. No, we're winning tonight. Padres are going to win by 2 or more. It's at minus 115
the
to
Reds,
take down
right?
the Reds. Reds had the 5-game winning streak that was snapped yesterday. I'm looking at a Padres team that's feeling themselves coming off the Mexico City series.
They might
with
have
the
altitude
sweep.
adjustment, though, is the only thing I worry about.
Yeah, but they also now think that they can hit 500-foot homers. And even if they only go 400, they should be good for it. And also the Reds are overrated. They had a nice little run. And mostly I'm looking at the pitching matchup. Blake Snell can't be this bad all year. He's back at home, pitches better at home. And Luke Weaver, 5 homers in 2 starts so far.
I'm sorry, Blake. I'm sorry.
What?
Sorry. I picked you. I'm sorry. I'm apologizing ahead of time.
No. We're getting a dub. We're getting an 8-2 no sweat bet. Kratzy, how you winning tonight?
Yeah, that's how you need to do it. You got to be positive about it, AJ. I love that you're tailing your guy there. Great way to start out a Monday. I'm going Jose Barrios over 4.5 Ks. I don't think I've ever bet anything but against Jose, but 4.5 Ks versus Boston. In his starts this year, he's had 9 Ks, 3 Ks, 6 Ks, 5 Ks, 7 Ks. And against Boston in his career, he's averaged over 6 strikeouts per game. So to get to 4.5, I like it. And he's been trending up as the season's been going. So, and that's at, I think I was at plus 120. I'm not 100, plus 115.
Yep.
So betting
So
200
2
to
hundo.
win 230.
Okay. AJ has to do whatever I do, so we're always the same. 115 to win a hundo. Okay. Slow and steady wins the race. And you know what it means. Spicy MLB. $10, get 100 instantly. Sign up and deposit at least $10 into your newly created account. Download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android, and you place a pregame moneyline wager of at least $10 on any MLB team to win at standard odds price. you'll get $100 in bonus bets instantly. And if you sign up in Massachusetts or Ohio, you'll receive $200 in bonus bets, but only if you use the bonus code
Spicy MLB.
Well, yeah, we're collabing, so we have to finish each other's sentences if we're going to bet together. Okay. Slap hands. We need a hearty 5 minutes for it. I have a lot to get to, so let's run it. First off, one of the interviews of the season so far on this show. There we go, Kratzy.
That's what
Instant
I needed.
replay. Did you whiff, though?
I whiffed.
On the
he
slap?
somehow knew I was going to slap him on the butt.
Little love tap. Hey, love tap. Drew Maggi getting all the love out in Pittsburgh for recording not one, but 2 big league knocks in that blowout win over the Nats. So props to him also just for giving us his all, even in an interview. Orange Theory fitness instructor.
I was there this morning.
I know. We were thinking about you. There's the knock. Drew, congrats, man. What a damn journey. That's going to be a movie.
At some point.
13 years in the minors. He was awesome to talk to. Really real, raw. My agent said quit every year. I thought about it. We're like, why didn't you fire him? He's like, I couldn't get another one. Like, it was just, it was awesome. Kratzy was like, can I ask 100 more questions? I was like, I think he's got a big league ball game to play in, but we'll get him at some point again.
No, he got rained out that day, so it didn't matter.
That's true.
I was fangirling for sure. I was
awesome.
all googly. Like, I kept putting in the chat. They were like, anybody have any more? I'm like, I have a billion more questions. And then he hits a double. And then in very Kratz fashion, shipped back to Altoona. We'll see you.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even send him to AAA. They sent him to Altoona. Like, that is just an absolute groin shot.
That's where he was, though.
Yeah, he was in AA. But still, I mean, 2 knocks in the bigs.
They didn't DFA him. They just optioned him.
Yeah.
So that means he still can come back.
Correct.
Easier than
yes.
Getting DFA.
He's playing in the Eastern League. That's grinder. He's got to go to Reading. He's got to go to Erie.
Got to go to Reading.
He's
got to stack his shoes up because the locker's so small you can't put them side by side.
So tiny.
Yeah, but he's got that big league meal money now. Oh, wait, they took that away.
Oh, they took that away, too.
Incredible. But awesome, Drew. Congrats to you.
Congrats, Drew. Happy for you, brother.
Yes, very happy for you. Also in slap hands, just a couple quick things. Did you see Ohtani's homer?
I did. It was so high.
7 seconds of hang time. I mean, every few games, you're like, what did he do? Highest homer hang time this year, and I think one of the top since StatCast was tracking it.
It was the highest hang time since StatCast. 6.8.
Really? Is it the high? It was the highest overall. I was looking at the season numbers. Holy shit!
The announcer goes. Oh yeah, he gave the roof at American Family Financial Insurance McBride Park, a run for its money. I think the roof's like 330 feet, and I think he hit his 162 feet high. So we're not getting close, okay?
No.
Don't worry about that.
Depth perception, though, it's everything.
For sure.
We're gonna have we have a new sponsor. We're excited. It's on the desk right now. We're excited. Tyrus Baseball. We're going to talk more about it later this week because Scherzer's coming back, and we'll have an expert on the sticky stuff topic to make sure Scherzer stays on the mound. And Max keeps getting pushed back. He was supposed to pitch today, then it's tomorrow. I'm pretty sure it's Wednesday now with the weather issues and the rotation. Right. But Mets fans are going to have a week. Scherzer's back from the suspension. Verlander's back this week. He said, I feel pretty good. So he's back. It's going to be fun.
And notice where they're pitching them, too. At Detroit.
Yeah, you got both those guys back in Detroit, which is cool.
But why didn't they start them against Atlanta, who they're playing right now?
Who? Max?
Yeah.
Max was supposed to.
He was supposed to.
I know, but he didn't.
Because of the weather.
Yeah, but don't you want your guys against the team you're chasing?
Yes.
He has to miss 10 games.
Right.
But then how could
he wasn't allowed to come back. I looked.
Okay, because you got the way you made it sound like is because of the weather he's not pitching today.
Right. Because of the weather, he has to serve more games on the suspension.
Oh,
I was the same way. I was like, screw the rotation, just throw him in there. And I was like, no.
Days.
He needs to serve the games.
Oh, it's not days, it's games.
It's games. That was the problem.
Okay.
Which sucks because
I apologize.
No. I was the same way. I was like, had my moment on the weekend where I'm like, I was like, I don't care who's pitching. It's Max instead. He can't pitch, which sucks because he apparently partially took the suspension so he could get back because the Mets were like, we want you back for Atlanta. And now he's not back for that series anyway. I mean, I still think they'd probably say, listen, you're not winning against the league that edits video. And
That's what
they
he
get
said.
to decide who wins this case that you're going to file an appeal against where the league decides it. They're going to give you the 10 regardless. Just take it and talk shit about them on foul territory.
That's pretty much what he did.
That's
He's
what
coming
Boris
back.
said too. So
Exactly. So, oh, and lastly, this is, I mean, on a sad note, but rest in peace, Mike Shannon, long time Cardinals broadcaster, passed away yesterday at the age of 83. Legendary sports broadcaster out in the Midwest. The restaurant, all the broadcasts, the calls, the funny moments too. A lot of funny moments.
Mhm.
Some of them,
A few suspensions,
yeah.
but he was great.
He was great.
My short time in St. Louis, awesome to talk to. He
Mhm.
always had a story, always made you laugh. It's around.
Unique voice. You know it's him when you listen.
When I was broadcasting and to do a Cardinals game, he would always have you over in his radio booth was bigger than any TV booth I ever saw. And he always had like 50 people in the booth sitting there. We get a rain delay. It's like inevitable. You go to St. Louis, you get a rain delay. He'd come over.
Yeah.
Sit and have a beer. I'm like, no, I can't have. It's like, oh, nobody will notice. Hey, what? You're like, no, I can't have a beer during the game. Sure, you can. Okay, Mike. But he was great.
He cracked a few with
He
his
was great.
broadcast. Yeah.
He was awesome, and everyone knew him in St. Louis. Everyone loved him.
Yes.
Just an awesome fella. Sorry, you'll be missed, Mike, and rest in peace.
And 9 years in the bigs, of course, the Cards. So legend out there in St. Louis. We're thinking about the family today. And we'll finish with whatever you got on that noggin today. Kratz hats. What is it?
the first brown and white hat we got. Nobody have any idea what this is.
The poop emojis.
There's a poop emoji. It does kind of look like a poop emoji with a baseball bat. Does anybody know what state that is?
It's Maine. That's Maine.
Yep.
I know that.
Any
Good.
idea what this could be?
The Portland Pucks.
Portland Whoopie Pies.
Ooh.
Portland
Wow.
Sea Dogs. The Whoopie Pie was allegedly created and first made in Portland. So Portland,
all for a
Maine, the
good
Whoopie
Whoopie Pie.
Pies. It was one of the hats that they wore when I was working the Red Sox beat. When I was one of the AJ Przinsky's of the Red Sox front office or player development, and so they gave me one of these hats. I was like, "This is pretty sick."
That's a cool hat.
Yeah, I love
Multicolor.
Whoopie Pies. Too. Whoopie Pies are good.
Yeah.
Whoopie Pies
It's a-
are delicious.
It's a fun emoji. He's got a cousin who's the poop emoji, but he's a whoopie pie. So he's okay.
Did you say the Portland Poops?
Portland poops. I think it's time for the music. I was like, I know they're about to play it.
No more poops for you.
All right. Tuesday on FT Live, we're back with more of this. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. See you then.
Subscribe.
Always.
Always.